thunder of jets in an open sky, a streak of gray, and a cheerful...
A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again you'll know it's time for the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and friends.
Starring that supersonic speedster, Rocket J. Squirrel, with his pal Bullwinkle the Moose, and a host of others.
Hurry, Bullwinkle! The show's about to start!
I'm coming as fast as I can.
Wave to the people!
Yay!
Now what are you doing?
Sign an autograph. Let's see. John Smith.
But your name is Bullwinkle.
I know, but that's hard to spell.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. Come on and join us.
Sure, there's always room for one more.
Well, Bullwinkle's career as a football player had quite a setback last time when Coach Canute said...
Well, Moose, do you think you can pass?
I don't know. I'll study hard.
No, I mean a forward pass.
Oh, that. Sure. How's this?
And Bullwinkle lofted a forward pass that didn't travel more than 10 feet.
That's a forward pass.
It went forward, didn't it?
Turn in your suit, Moose.
No, wait. I think I know what's wrong, Coach. Let me center the ball.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Hut!
Now, Bullwinkle, alley!
Well, it was the alley-oop that did it. The football zoomed into the air, down the field, over the goalpost, out of the stadium, and across the campus toward the administration building.
Now, Chancellor, this here stadium will cost you only $7 million, and we can start building on...
A lot of money, Mr. Herdlicker. I don't think we... What's that?
It's a football.
How did it get here?
Offhand, I'd say it was thrown here by your new fullback.
Well, don't just stand there, Herdlicker. Build something.
And immediately, work started on a brand new stadium for Wasamatta U. While on the practice field, Bullwinkle and Rocky worked out with the rest of the team.
Ollie!
Oof!
I got it.
Gee, not so hard, Bullwinkle. That's the third pass receiver we've lost today.
We don't lose him, Rock. They pick him up in the next county.
But passing wasn't Bullwinkle's only football talent. When he put his head down and charged, he could take out one whole side of the opposing line.
That's what I like, a player who uses his head.
It's also good for hanging hats on.
Came time for Wasamatta U's first game with the Watchmakers Technical Institute.
Or as it is known, tick-tock-tick.
It wasn't a game. It was a slaughter.
Ellie!
Oof!
Ding! Ellie!
Oof!
Ding!
A minute before the end of the game, with Wasamatta U leading 66-0, Coach Canute took Bullwinkle out. Immediately, things were different. In the next 60 seconds, Tick-Tock-Tech scored 60 points. But then the final gun sounded. Well, a big upset like that didn't go unnoticed.
Wow! Look what the newspapers say about the game, Rock.
I don't see anything.
Look down here. Wasamatta 66, Tick-Tock 60.
The type's too small for me to read.
But as the season progressed, the headlines got bigger and bigger.
Wasamatta U, 90. Barely normal, 0.
Wasamatta 89, Purdy Polly 0.
Wasamatta, 150. DeQuoin's Grammar School, 0.
Little mix-up in the schedule there.
Wasamatta was the only team in the nation which was undefeated and untied.
Not untied, we're just a little loose is all.
But on television, every silver lining has a dark cloud, and our show is no different. For in a downtown bat cave in a large city, some professional gamblers were posting betting odds on next week's game.
Oh, boy. You see the odds on Wasamatta U? 200 to 1.
Incredible.
Well, Natasha, this is it. This is the time for me to turn over a new leaf.
What?
You know how I am, honey bun. Always destroying things, wrecking them, smashing them up.
Yes.
Well, now I'm going to do just the opposite of breaking things.
You mean?
Yes, I'm going to fix a game.
And he's just the fixer to do it, too. Oh, don't fail to see Wager at Dawn or Early to Bet.
And now it's time for...
Time for the dancing fool, Bullwinkle.
Again? And now for one of our special fairy tales.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, there was a handsome prince who one day, while riding through the woods on his white charger, saw a very strange sight. For there, in a clearing, was a most beautiful maiden in a glass coffin, surrounded by 7 funny-looking little men. Dwarfs, I believe they're called. The prince quickly rode to the spot and kissed the beautiful maiden. She immediately awoke. The dwarfs rejoiced.
Hooray! Hooray is right. Now we could go home and get some sleep.
And the young girl, whose name just happened to be Snow White, and the prince were married. Soon after, the prince was made king, and they lived happily for many years. Then one day, the king's wife presented him with a beautiful son. At 5 a.m. in the morning.
Here, you walk the floor with him this time.
And the king did. Night after night, year after year, the king walked the floor with his son, until finally, 21 years later...
Oh, stop that! You are now a young prince, just as I once was. It's time you quit blubbering and go out to find yourself a bride.
Bride? How do I do that?
Well, do like I did. Wander around the country till you find a beauty under a spell, and then you kiss her.
That's the way I met your father, son.
That's right. Poison apple, wasn't it, Whitey?
With that, the king promised his son a kingdom of his own when he found a bride, then sent the boy into the world to seek his true love. The young prince wandered about for several years with no luck. Then, one day, he chanced to learn of a beautiful maiden who was being kept in a high tower by a wicked witch. Her name was Rapunzel.
Rapunzel? She? What a name.
Seeking out the tower, he found it to be very high, with the only entrance being a tiny window near the very top. As he watched from the cover of a thorn tree, the wicked witch suddenly appeared and called out in a loud voice,
Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair, so that I may climb the golden stair.
The prince was startled to see shafts of golden hair tumble from the window, so long that it reached the ground, and the witch climbed up them. Soon after, the witch clambered down and was gone, and the prince approached the tower and called out just as the witch had done.
Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair, so that I may climb the golden stair.
He climbed the hair and found it attached to the most beautiful maiden he had ever seen, and he immediately fell in love with her.
Beautiful hairy one, let me take you away from all this.
I'm with you, but how do we get out of here?
Easy. We'll climb down your hair together.
But at that moment, the witch flew in on her broom.
So!
Which was just as well, for both of them, climbing down Rapunzel's hair wouldn't have worked anyway. Furious, the witch flung the prince from the window. Yeah. And turned to the frightened girl.
I warned you about this. No cooking, no pets, and no visitors.
With that, the witch pulled out some shears and cut off all of Rapunzel's lovely hair, then turned and sped away on her broom. Undaunted by this minor setback, the prince gathered himself together and called up to his true love.
Don't worry, dear. I'll think of some way to get a rope to you.
Finding a rope, he then bent down a springy tree to its limit, forming a catapult. Climbing on, he released it. And it flung him high into the air and towards the tower. But his aim was a tiny bit off, and he missed the window ever so slightly. Next, he tied some strong bed springs to his feet and began to bounce higher, higher, and higher, and higher. But again, his aim was slightly off.
You'd better skip the whole thing, dear. The only way you'll ever get up here is to fly.
Fly? That's it. I'll fly up.
Oh, don't be cuckoo. You don't know how to fly.
Not now, but I'll learn.
The prince dashed off, and for the next 6 months he closely watched the birds in the woods, copying every move they made. Then finally, after much practice and perseverance, by flapping his arms wildly, he was able to fly.
Yahoo! Hang on, sweetie. I'm coming.
He quickly flew back to the tower, but when he arrived, he found the one thing he hadn't thought of leaning up against the tower, a ladder. And Rapunzel was gone.
Dear John, I have gone off with a prince named Charming, and he is, too. Love, Rapunzel.
Oh, the poor prince was broken-hearted, and he could be seen forever after crying. And flying around and around the empty tower. And, of course, the moral to this story is that if you laugh, the world laughs with you, but fly, and you fly alone.
That's a pretty strange-looking painting, Bullwinkle.
I just paint what I see.
Well, what do you see?
This is what I see.
And here's Bullwinkle's Corner.
Hello there. Time again for a small belt of culture. Today's poem is a searching character study called Simple Simon. Simple Simon met a pieman going to the fair. Said Simple Simon to the pieman, "Let me taste your ware."
My what?
Not your what, your ware. Let me taste your ware.
What where? I got no where.
You know what where? Anywhere.
Who's got where?
You got where.
I don't got where. Ask her. Maybe she's got where.
Who's she?
She's witch.
Witch?
Yes, see if she's got where.
What where?
Witch has where.
What?
No where.
What's nowhere?
This whole poem. Why don't you start over?
Because I can't quit till I get a pie.
A pie? You said where?
Same thing. Your pies are your wares.
Oh, why didn't you said so? Here is pie.
That's better.
Better?
Sure. Now I'm getting somewhere.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Ooh, don't know my own strength.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Inspector Nathaniel Fenwick had decided that it was about time that his daughter had her coming-out party.
Oh, Father, really? With all the trimmings?
With all the trimmings, my dear.
Oh, joy.
Pardon me, sir, but isn't Nell a little old to be having a coming-out party?
Of course she's old. But as usual, Do-Right, you don't get the significance. Why, this isn't an ordinary coming-out party. It's a master plan to catch Snidely Whiplash.
I don't quite follow you, sir.
I'll put it another way, Dudley. What is it that Snidely wears that he is never without?
A leer, sir?
No, Dudley, his top hat and opera cape.
So?
Don't you realize, Dudley, that this is the image he's created? Without his top hat and cape, he's nothing. Look.
Funny, sir. I've seen that before.
Of course you have. This is a Bullwinkle hat. Can you imagine collecting mortgages in a Bullwinkle hat? Why, he'll be laughed out of every home.
But what's that got to do with Nell's coming-out party?
Snidely owns an opera hat and cape, right?
Right.
Well, where in this awful wilderness can you attend a full-dress social function?
Well, there's that little theater group.
No place. That's why I'm having this grand social event. Snidely won't be able to resist it. He'll check his hat and cape at the door, and then we'll substitute this Bullwinkle hat for his opera hat.
An invitation, Homer. An engraved invitation to Nell Fenwick's coming-out party.
But Snidely, that's at the RCMP camp.
Homer, I'd go to the ends of the earth to attend a social event of this prominence.
But don't it seem strange that a 37-and-a-half-year-old girl should be having a coming-out party?
With me top hat and cape, I'll be in the height of fashion. A party, whee!
Check your hat and cape, sir.
Certainly.
And while Snidely Whiplash was tripping the light fantastic, a Bullwinkle hat and large check coat was substituted for his top hat and cape.
Thank you, my dear. I don't know when I've had a better time. My hat and cape, please.
Here you are, sir.
This isn't my top hat and cape.
I'm sorry, but it's the only one that's left. It must be yours.
I'm telling you, it is not my hat and cape. You won't hear the last of it.
The next day, Snidely Whiplash went about the Canadian mountainside trying to collect mortgages.
Either pay me the money or out into the cold you go.
Look at that funny moose hat.
Oh, please pay me the mortgage, please, will you?
Such a funny hat.
And so, Dudley, Snidely's having a terrible time collecting mortgages. They laugh him out of their homes. Without his hat and cape, he's nothing.
It certainly must be a powerful symbol. It is arch-villain Dudley Do-Right.
All right, Dudley, you've had your little joke. You can take off Snidely's hat.
And I've got you, Inspector Fenwick, in me clutches.
Where did I go wrong?
Snidely, there's a new arch-villain who has moved into the territory. He wears a top hat and a cape, and he has already tied 27 old ladies to the railroad tracks. He's going to beat your record.
Well, what do you expect me to do about it?
Aren't you going to pulverize him, Whiplash? I mean, 27 old ladies. He's cutting in on you a bit.
In a moose hat, he'd only laugh at me.
Can't you stop him?
There's only one way. There's only one man can stop him, and that man is Dudley Do-Right. And you've got to send Dudley Do-Right to stop this fiend, this arch-villain. As a taxpayer, I demand that you apprehend him.
Snidely, we can't send Dudley Do-Right to apprehend this arch-villain.
Why not?
Because that arch-villain is Dudley Do-Right.
Stalwart, true, eyes of blue, Dudley Do-Right?
The very same. He tried on your hat and cape and went berserk. He thinks he's you.
Oh!
Say, if he's masquerading as you, why don't you masquerade as him?
I never realized the truth in that old maxim, clothes make the man. Look at me, stalwart, true, eyes of blue. Arch-villain Dudley Do-Right, caught you at last.
You'll never take me alive, stalwart true with eyes of blue, Snidely Whiplash.
Good work, Snidely Whiplash.
Inspector, there's one favor now that I've captured arch-villain Dudley Do-Right that I would like to ask.
What's that, Whip?
Could I please have my top hat and cape back? For sentimental reasons.
Of course, dear boy.
Now I have you in me power.
Where did I go wrong?
Well, all's well that ends well, eh, Inspector?
Yes, but you know, Do-Right, while he was a Mountie, you could have learned something from that boy.
Well, the latest sensation of the sports pages these days is What's the Matter You? And its forward-passing phenom, Bullwinkle Moose.
Look, Natasha, 200 to 1.
Some score, darling.
Score nothing. Those are the betting odds on What's the Matter You.
Boris, why you're smiling that sneaky little smile?
I know Moose can throw passes. I wonder if he could throw a whole game.
Meanwhile, it wasn't all cleats and shoulder pads for our heroes. Eager to make good grades, they really had to burn the midnight oil.
How come we're burning the midnight oil, Rock?
They turn off the electricity at 10 o'clock.
Oh, knit one pearl two, knit two pearl one, knit one pearl two.
What are you doing, Bullwinkle?
Studying for a test.
In what?
My toughest class, advanced crocheting. Knit one, knit two, pearl one, pearl two.
Yeah, but why so fast?
I'm cramming.
Not that life at What's the Matter You was all work and no play. There were lots of typical collegiate good fellowship and hijinks.
Howdy, fellers. How about seeing how many of us can pile into a phone booth?
I don't think we've met, old boy.
I know, but how about some typical collegiate good fellowship and hijinks? We could all go over to my place and swallow goldfish.
But
there's enough for everybody. I just got my allowance.
You must be insane. Come on, chaps. We're all going over to picket Norman Mailer at the Student Union.
Gee, Bullwinkle.
What am I going to do with 300 goldfish?
Well, why
But
don't you...
although Bullwinkle didn't know it, he had an even more serious problem.
Well, Natasha, it's great to be back on the campus.
Back? Boris, you went to college? Penn State?
No, State Penn.
But how are we going to convince Moose he should lose a football game?
We got secret weapon, honey bun.
Oh, I love secrets. Let's see.
Here is secret weapon.
Boris is me.
And thus it was that next day when Bullwinkle and Rocky left the practice field, they were confronted by a weeping figure.
Boo-hoo-hoo.
Hold it, Bullwinkle. That sounds like a lady in distress.
So?
Gee, didn't you ever read the Hero's Handbook?
I can never get past the picture of General MacArthur on the cover.
Well, Chapter 2 says we should always help ladies in distress.
Hi there, lady. Are you in distress?
Distress, that dress, who cares? I'm distraught.
Do we help ladies in distraught?
What's the trouble?
It's about next Saturday's game.
With Hard Knocks College. Don't worry, we'll mobilize them.
That's just it. My little brother is on that team.
Your brother?
Crazy Legs Kalbfuss. And if Hard Knocks doesn't win Saturday, they'll throw him off the team.
Gee.
They'll take away his sweater.
And it's turning cool, too.
They won't even let him watch American Bandstand.
Is there no pity anywhere?
So, you're great, big, wonderful moose.
That's me, all right.
Maybe you could see to it that Hard Knocks wins next Saturday.
Why not?
Bullwinkle, you can't do that.
I'm supposed to help ladies in distress.
But Chapter 3 says you never throw a game.
Well, you read your chapter, I'll read mine. What was that you called me, missy?
A great, big, wonderful schnook.
Sounds different this time.
Well, has Bullwinkle fallen prey to Boris and Natasha's vile scheme so quickly? Be with us next time for Standing Room Only, or Bullwinkle Sells Out.
As if our time is just about run out.
Mine must be a little slow.
You got the credits, Bullwinkle?
All on this itty-bitty card. Oop. Right.
Bye now. See you next time.
Thunder of jets in an open sky, a streak of gray, and a cheerful... A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again, you'll know it's time for the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. Starring that supersonic speedster, Rocket J. Squirrel, with his pal Bullwinkle the Moose, and a host of others.
Hurry, Bullwinkle! The show's about to start!
I'm coming as fast as I can.
Wave to the people!
Yay!
Now what are you doing?
Signing autographs. Let's see. John Smith.
But your name is Bullwinkle.
I know, but that's hard to spell.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. Come on and join us.
Sure, there's always room for one more.
Well, the Wasamatta U football team continues to roll like a juggernaut over its opponents, sparked by the flashy passing combination of Rocky Squirrel and Bullwinkle Moose.
Ellie!
Oop! But Boris Badenov, against all common sense, is betting heavily against Wasamatta.
Put all this on Hard Knocks College next Saturday.
On Hard Knocks? Fellas, take off your hats.
It ain't often we see such touching childlike faith. Mister, you got our sympathy.
Put your hats back on. I also got a fiendish plan.
And what a plan it was. Natasha, disguised as a forlorn co-ed named Miriam Calvus, convinced Bullwinkle that her brother was on the Hard Knocks Football 11.
And if they don't win, he'll be thrown off the team.
Never fear, Miriam dear.
Oh, poetry.
Isn't it, though? And what's more, curfew shall not ring tonight.
What's that mean?
I don't know, but it sure sounds impressive.
Bullwinkle, I don't think she even has a brother.
Yeah, but she sure has long eyelashes.
I think she's trying to trick you.
Rock, I'm surprised.
If she does have a football player for a brother, where is he? Where is this Crazy Legs Calvus?
You called?
You Crazy Legs Calvus.
Just look.
Crazy Legs, all right.
Well, that did it. The following Saturday, Bullwinkle just wasn't playing his usual game. At the end of 3 quarters, the score was still 0-0.
Boo!
Bullwinkle, you fumbled.
I bet those eyelashes are 2 inches long.
As a matter of fact, the only reason Hard Knocks hadn't scored was that they were almost as bad a team as Watamata.
2-7 hike.
Bullwinkle, you missed him.
Go on, Whizzer. You're in the clear.
And he was, too. But unfortunately, in donning his uniform, Whizzer Black had inadvertently tied together the laces of his right and left shoes. As a result...
Boy, that's a lucky break.
Eyelashes must be 3 inches long.
Hey, you know who we haven't seen on the field yet?
Among others, Prince Suvanafuma.
No, Crazy Legs Calvus.
Probably saving him for the last quarter.
This is the last quarter.
Maybe they're 4 inches long.
What are?
Miriam's eyelashes. See?
Where?
There in the end zone behind us.
Sure enough, Miriam Calvus.
Or as we know her, Natasha Fatah.
Was in the stands cheering for Hard Knocks.
Kill the moose!
And look who's beside her.
Crazy Legs. It was a trick.
Signals. 1, 2, 3, hip!
Oh, what a dirty guy. I'll get you, Crazy Legs.
Bullwinkle, no! You're running the wrong way.
Nobody can make a monkey's uncle out of Bullwinkle J.
Oh, boy.
You know, Booby, I don't like the look in his eye.
I told you Moose had no sense of humor.
Quick as a flash, Burris slipped out of his seat and disappeared into the crowd.
Where'd he go?
Bullwinkle, look out!
Yes, by now, the mighty Moose stood at the 1-foot line, just 12 inches away from scoring the winning goal for his opponents. The Hard Knocks players struggled closer.
Gee, these football fields are long.
Burris was still ducking through the crowd, and where? Clear at the other end of the field, the Hard Knocks players leaped on Bullwinkle to drive him over the goal line, and at that moment, the referee raised his gun to signal the end of the game. Boy, we've had everything in this episode but the kitchen sink.
What do you think this is?
Well, is Wasamatta U doomed to its first defeat? We'll find out in our next excitement-riddled episode. Bullwinkle scores again, or Fool's Goal.
Once upon a time, there was a young prince who ventured into the woods in search of game. Somehow, during the course of the day, he became lost, for he found himself in a part of the forest where he had never been before. He was tired and hungry, and it was growing very late. Just then, he saw a light, and there, a short distance away, stood a great castle. Rushing up the path, he knocked on the huge door.
If you're selling weird story magazines, we don't want any. Go away.
Wait. I am a handsome prince who has lost his way. Could you spare a 32-course feast in a master bedroom for the night?
A prince? Well, in that case, come in. You're just in time for dinner.
Taking the lad by the hand, the king led him inside. When they entered the main dining room, the prince was shocked at what he saw. There were 7 chickens sitting around the table. And they, along with the king, proceeded to peck away at the dishes of corn that sat before them.
Eat, boy, eat. What's the matter? You haven't pecked a thing on your plate.
I'm suddenly not hungry.
Oh, that's too bad. Now, what's that, Florence? Oh, this is very funny.
What happened?
Florence just told a joke.
That's all.
Son, I'm glad you came along. I've got a problem.
Yes, I noticed that.
The king went on to tell the prince an incredible tale of how a witch had come to his castle one dark day and cast an evil spell that had turned all his loving daughters into chickens.
Oh, so that's it. Those chickens 7 are your daughters.
No, 6 of the chickens are my daughters. The 7th one is the witch herself.
And here comes the plot.
Right you are. The spell on my daughters cannot be broken until I can discover which of the 7 chickens is the witch.
Well, now, this is the sort of thing that all handsome princes wait for. The next morning, he got up with the chickens and set about his task.
It's no use, my boy. Chickens have a nasty habit of looking just alike.
Well, that's true, but they don't think alike. The one that's the witch thinks like a witch.
With a plan in mind, the prince soon had disguised himself as a beautiful maiden.
Your mascara is running, and what's the plan?
Simple. I pretend like I'm Snow White. There isn't a witch in the world that can resist a setup like that. Watch this.
Lining up the 7 chickens, the prince, in his Snow White suit, ran through the courtyard proclaiming to the top of his voice,
I am Snow White. I do so hope that any witch around here that is disguised as a chicken won't give me a poison apple.
None of the 7 chickens paid the slightest bit of attention, but an ogre that happened to be casing the castle did. He saw that this was a chance to cop what he thought was a fair maiden, which he wasted no time in doing. But just then, a handsome knight chanced to arrive on the scene and rushed to the rescue.
Never fear, fair beauty. I shall save you.
With that, the knight flew at the ogre. The prince was saved and his troubles were over. Almost.
Ah, fair maiden, you are truly lovely.
I know, but knock it off, knight. I'm not a maiden.
Your eyes, your lips, your...
Okay, you asked for it.
Aha, the lady has fire. Wait, dear one, wait, come back.
The prince was not used to running with the dress on, but he did manage to make it back to the castle well ahead of the pursuing knight.
What happened?
Never mind. Help me out of this fair maiden disguise before anything else happens.
But before they could do this, the 7 chickens came clucking into the courtyard and gathered round the prince to see what the commotion was.
Girls, not now. Go away.
The prince grabbed a broom and started swinging to shoo them away. All chickens being afraid of brooms, they scattered like, chickens. That is all but one. That chicken snatched the broom from the prince, hopped on, and flew it around and around.
Your Highness, look at that.
Must say I never saw a chicken do that before.
Of course not. Only witches fly brooms, so that's the chicken that is a witch.
The prince had guessed the secret, and the spell was broken. Not only did the witch turn back into a witch, but the 6 chickens were turned back into the king's beautiful daughters.
Party pooper!
My boy, you did it. As a reward, I'm going to give you a chest of gold and any daughter you wish to be your bride.
Heavens, it's going to be hard to choose. They're all so beautiful.
Unfortunately, however, before he could make up his mind, the knight, who still thought the prince was a fair maiden, galloped in and swept him off his feet.
Now, lovely one, you and I, we fly away together. Up and away!
No.
Well, now, needless to say, the poor prince did not get the chest of gold, and he was never to get one of the beautiful daughters to be his bride. Of course, his mother had told him that there would be days like that, but she had forgotten to warn him about the nights.
A message in a bottle.
Fan mail from some flounder?
No, this is what I really call a message. And now, here's that man who can save you money in 1,000 ways, Mr. Know-It-All.
Thank you, and hello, cheapskates everywhere. Today we take up the problem of buying a used car. The important thing is to buy only the used car you know is right for you. So naturally, the salesman must be honest.
Hey, sport, got a little sweetheart here for you.
Like him, for instance. You know an honest face like that couldn't steer you wrong. So, the first thing you do is kick the tire. That shows him you know what you're doing.
You pay for all damages. Just sign contract.
Well, I suppose it's the right thing to do.
Hey, sport, that car you just bought is a dog. How about taking this little beauty out for a spin?
Fine, but I'd like to take it to a mechanic for a complete checkup.
Mechanic is next door.
Oh, good. This way you can never get stuck. Say, mechanic, will you check this car over to see if it's a sound buy?
Car is in perfect order. You'll sign online here.
Here?
Look, sport, no motor. You need this little baby here. Hop in and take for spin.
Well, only for a...
Yes, officer, car is stolen. But we will not prosecute if Moose pays only $4,300 for little gem.
Do I sign here?
Yes, but better first practice on these.
I thought you said buy only the car you want. Now you own 31 cars.
I do?
What'll you do now?
What else? Look like a little old lady from Pasadena.
Hello again, Peabody here. Although Christopher Columbus discovered many things, the one thing he didn't discover was Columbus, Ohio.
What did he discover, Mr. Peabody?
Just the North American continent, Sherman, and today you and I will help him do it. Set the Wayback Machine for 1492.
Yes, sir, Mr. Peabody.
And our target, Spain. The Wayback wasted little time transporting us to the court of Ferdinand and Isabella, and there before the throne stood Columbus pleading his case.
The world, she's no flat, she's around.
Ridiculous.
That's what you say. I say she's around.
He's crazy.
Oh, I don't know, Fred. Maybe he's right. Sure, I'm right, lady. The world, she's around like an orange.
Like this orange?
Look at that, Mr. Peabody. A square orange.
And a square king, Sherman. I beg your pardon, your majesties, but Columbus is correct, you know. The world is round, and if you'll give us just 3 ships, we'll prove it. Thanks to Isabella, the king agreed, and the next morning we found 3 ships waiting for us in the harbor.
It's a 3 nice-looking boats you got there. And at this time, I'd like to say bon voyage.
You sound as though you weren't coming along, Mr. Columbus.
That's right, I'm not.
You're joking.
No. You see, I'm not really gonna think the world she's around. I think she's oblong. Have a nice trip.
One moment, please.
It's no use trying to stop me. Ain't nothing gonna get me on those boats.
And nothing would have, except that suddenly a gangplank from one of the vessels was lowered and...
What do we do now, Mr. Peabody?
We'll carry him aboard the flagship.
But...
No buts, my boy. Columbus must make this voyage. Someone else also made the voyage, a certain Gaspar Vallejo, who was Spain's most prosperous globe maker.
Of all the dirty tricks, here I got 2 million square globes, and that guy Columbus, he's trying to prove that the world is around.
You got no worries, Senor Vallejo. We all know there is nothing on the other side of the ocean.
No? You ever hear of Elko, Nevada? I spent a week there once. I guess the only thing to do is go with Columbus and see that he never gets it back.
And you say you're a navigator, Senor Vallejo?
Oh, si, senor.
Very well. You're hired. With Vallejo charting our course, the 3 ships left the harbor and sailed out to sea. It wasn't long before Columbus came to and joined us on deck.
Well, I think I run down to the delicatessen and pick up some cheese.
You better not, Mr. Columbus.
What's the matter? Delicatessen is closed?
No, it's just that we're out at sea.
I don't believe you.
And so you see, sir, we had no alternative. Unless you discover the North American continent, it may not be discovered at all.
You sure the world she's around?
Positive.
And that the ocean she just don't fall off?
Take my word for it.
Then how do you explain that?
It was hard to believe, but just ahead the ocean did appear to drop off into nothing.
I told you the world she's flat.
Wasting no time in explanations, I ran to the wheel and spun it wildly, causing the ship to do a complete turnabout. Fortunately, the wind was with us, and we were able to sail back in the direction from which we came.
We're going back to Spain, yes?
We're going back to Spain, no.
But, Mr. Peabody, how do you explain the ocean dropping off like that?
Because we weren't on the ocean, Sherman. That navigator of ours steered us straight into Africa, right down the Zambezi River. Those were the Victoria Falls we almost went over.
I'm an puncher that navigator right in the nose.
Unfortunately, Senor Vallejo had another trick up his sleeve.
Stay in the back. If anyone makes him move, I'm gonna crash the ship on the shore.
He's got us, Mr. Peabody.
Oh, no, he hasn't. I dare you to run us onto the shore.
Oh, you do, does you?
Yes, I do.
But, Mr. Peabody!
I took one step forward, and Vallejo promptly spun the wheel, certain the boat would ram itself on the rocks. However, in so doing, one of the sails came about and... With Vallejo out of the way, the Nina, Pinta, and Santa Fe set a westerly course and, many months later, sighted the North American continent. Columbus had discovered America.
What do you know about that? The world is around.
He sure looks happy.
So happy that upon dropping anchor, the first thing he did was to dive over the side and go pearl diving.
Pearl diving, Mr. Peabody?
Why, yes, Sherman, that's how that famous phrase was born.
Which phrase is that?
Columbus, the gem of the ocean.
Well, in our last episode, Bullwinkle was just about to make football history at Wasamatta U.
He's heading for the wrong goal.
Right. For in the stands, Bullwinkle had spotted Crazy Legs Cobbfuss.
Doggone Crazy Legs. Here I've been taking it easy so he wouldn't get thrown off the team. Now I find out he's not even on it. Where'd he go?
And Bullwinkle stopped just 1 foot short of the wrong goal line with a horde of tacklers coming after him. But just then...
Bye-bye, bird brain.
Yes, Boris popped into sight, clear at the other end of the stadium.
Oh, Baz Fez.
Things had happened fast and furious.
I'm fast and he's furious.
So angry was Bullwinkle that he looked around for something to throw at the fleeting Boris. There was only one thing handy, the football. He hurled it just as he was hit by a cloud of tacklers. The ball zoomed over the heads of the astonished players. It was clearly headed right out of the stadium. But just as it reached the end zone, a furry streak intercepted it.
It's a touchdown!
Touchdown!
We win! Yay!
Ow!
Is that the end, Boris?
It's not my elbow, honey bun.
Let that be a lesson to you, Bullwinkle. Always play your best game no matter what the provocation.
Yeah, what the provocation, I always say.
As a result of Bullwinkle's performance, Wasamatta became the top-ranked team in the country. Their new stadium was packed every weekend with thousands of fans. Wasamatta was making money hand over fist over hand.
Gentlemen, Bullwinkle Moose is the greatest football attraction since Blue Grain.
Isn't that Red Grange, Chancellor?
Let's not be controversial, Harkaby. Wasamatta is in the black for the first time in history.
At last we can afford to get some new teaching equipment.
Yes, my world map is so old it still shows the Earth is flat.
But nobody believes that.
Our current event books say that McKinley is still president.
And lots of people believe that.
You mean he isn't?
But now we can afford better teaching tools.
Gentlemen, you must be mad.
No new equipment?
Of course. New athletic equipment. We can't afford to offend Coach Canute.
And so in rapid succession, Wasamatta built an indoor baseball diamond, a 97-room home for Coach Canute, and a pink marble field house shaped like the Taj Mahal.
It's lovely by moonlight.
How about another test tube for the physics lab?
We gotta draw the line somewhere. Besides, it's time to meet the latest addition to our faculty, the world's greatest mathematical genius, Dr. Isosceles Digit.
Dr. Digit, are you here to start a new math department?
Are you kidding, Jack? I'm here to figure out new football plays.
And meanwhile, what of those two heels without soles, Boris and Natasha?
Yes, what of us, darling?
Natasha, there's only one way to fix the game and beat that idiot Moose.
And that is?
We got to get our own football team.
And within a few days, Boris had assembled the meanest, toughest gang of rascals and rogues in the state, the Mud City Manglers.
Look at them, Natasha.
Must I, darling? I just had lunch.
And wait till you meet the coach.
Darling, who could be mean and cruel enough to coach this mob of killers?
Who else?
You don't mean.
All right, team, a little pep up. Last man out of the huddle is the first man dead.
Boris, his fearless leader.
Yeah, he's doing a guest shot in this sequence.
A guest shot?
There goes a guest now.
Well, what a team this is for our heroes to face. Be sure to see our next episode, Rogues Gallery, or Hold That Lineup.
if our time is just about run out.
Mine must be a little slow.
You got the credits, Bullwinkle?
All on this itty-bitty card. Oop.
We're late again, Bullwinkle.
Right.
Bye now. See you next time.
A thunder of jets in an open sky, a streak of gray, and a cheerful... A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again, you'll know it's time for the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. Starring that supersonic speedster, Rocket J. Squirrel, with his pal Bullwinkle the Moose, and a host of others.
Hurry, Bullwinkle! The show's about to start!
I'm coming as fast as I can.
Wave to the people!
Yay!
Now what are you doing?
Sign an autograph. Let's see. John Smith.
But your name is Bullwinkle!
I know, but that's hard to spell.
We're gonna have a lot of fun! Come on and join us!
Sure, there's always room for one more.
Well, it was a big day for Wasamatta when the Chancellor said...
Many colleges are de-emphasizing football. Wasamatta will re-emphasize it.
One of the college's first acts was to sign up the Frostbite Falls Flash, Bullwinkle Moose, who, aided by Rocky the Flying Squirrel, proceeded to decimate the opposition.
No, we just beat the other teams.
That's what the man said.
Well, why don't he say what he says?
But it looked like breakers ahead for Wasamatta, for in a carefully guided hideout, Boris Badanov's Mud City Manglers were hard at work. They were a dreadful band of thugs and killers, coached by our old nemesis, fearless leader, and even he had to use a whip and a chair.
All right, we'll try number 17.
Out, 1, 2, 3. Ooh.
Uh-oh. Strangler fumbled the ball again.
Yeah, I bet the coach gives him a light reprimand.
No, I bet he gives him a severe reprimand. You were right. It was just a light reprimand.
Yes, with a team of hired goons and criminals, fearless leader was at his best, or worst.
I want all of you men to read this sign I'm posting in the locker room.
Play carefully. The life you save may be your own.
But of course, being villains had certain advantages, too.
Achtung! Tackle practice. I want you to tackle that dummy as if it were a Watsamara runner. Go! Terrible. Awful.
Fearless leader, all the sand is running out of the tackling dummy.
All right. Which one of you stabbed the tackling dummy in the back?
It was me.
You stabbed a defenseless dummy in the back?
Yeah, what of it?
Well, congratulations, my boy. You're my kind of folks. From now on, you're captain of the team.
That's the way to talk, Coach.
When I want your approval, I'll ask for it.
Yes, fearless leader.
All right. I'm asking.
Hooray!
Meanwhile, in the Chancellor's office at Wasamatta U...
Hey, you guys.
Yes, Coach Canute.
I got a letter here from a team I never heard of, challenging us to a game. What's the team? The Mud City Manglers.
Mud City?
No. They'll pay us $1,000.
It's a deal. And so in a short while, the wire services were buzzing with the news.
Mud City? Never heard heard of them.
Here's a picture of the team.
How do they look?
They sure got funny-looking helmets on.
Helmets, nothing. That's hair. Bullwinkle, those are girls.
Yes, to drive the odds even higher, the wily Boris had dressed his entire team in curly wigs and midi blouses.
Bullwinkle, this is terrible.
It is?
What kind of game can you play with girls?
Boy, this really is a children's show, isn't it? Parcheesi, of course.
The photograph caused a sensation.
Girls Challenge Nation's #1 team.
Debutantes to tackle Juggernaut.
Little did the press of the nation know that the Mud City Manglers were a vicious gang of thieves, blackguards, and unspeakable Turks.
All right, girls, and I use the term loosely. Time to check your equipment. Shoulder pads?
Check.
Spike shoes?
Check.
Poison for spikes?
Check.
Switchblade knives?
Check.
Brass knuckles?
Check.
Hand grenades?
Check.
Then we're ready. Just remember one thing.
Yes.
I want you to behave like ladies.
Well, these are shady ladies indeed, and we'll see their fiendish plot unfold next time in Mail Bags or Homely Are the Brave.
So long, Pop.
Where you off to, Junior?
There's a circus going on at the Coliseum.
Well, in your present position, you'll never get there to see it.
What makes you say that, Pop?
Well, look at you.
Oh, my gosh. I put the pony in back of the chariot.
That's what is known as putting the cart before the horse. And while you're getting straightened out, I'll relate a fable illustrating that adage.
But, Pop, I'll miss the circus.
No, you won't. I'll make it short. This is the story of the 3 bears.
I've heard that one.
Charlie Bear and his wife Edna lived in a modest little home on the edge of the forest. One day, after taking in a movie, they returned to their abode and made a rather startling discovery.
Hey, somebody's been eating my borscht.
And somebody's been eating my borscht.
I've heard this story, Pop.
Quiet. Further investigation of the living room brought out another remarkable fact.
Hey, somebody's been sitting in my Danish-type chaise lounge.
Somebody's been sitting in my Danish-type chaise lounge, too.
The mystery increased as they entered the upstairs bedroom.
Pop.
Hey, somebody's been sleeping in our Chinese modern Hollywood bed.
Somebody is sleeping in our Chinese modern Hollywood bed.
That someone turned out to be their rich Uncle Fabian. You heard this one before, Junior?
Uncle Fabian, what a pleasant surprise.
Bah! You're only glad to see me because I'm rich.
Oh, tut, 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 what a vile thought. Let me hold your wallet for you, dear Uncle Fabian, sir.
I'll give you a wallet right on the head.
Later that evening, over dinner, a surprise announcement was made.
I have decided to put you 2 in my will.
Oh, what a sweet thing to do.
It sure is. Let me hold your wallet, huh?
There's only one catch. All my life, you know, I've been grumpy and irritable.
Oh, you've noticed that, have you?
Well, before I go to bear heaven, I want to be happy.
Well, Charlie can make you happy, can't you, Charlie?
Sure can. Let me hold your wallet.
Early the next morning, Charlie attempted to make his uncle happy. First of all, he took him to the edge of the cliff.
Look at that view, Uncle Fabian. Doesn't that make you want to smile?
Bah!
And Uncle Fabian pushed Charlie over the cliff.
Well, did you boys have fun today?
I did, but Uncle Fabian didn't.
I decided not to put you 2 in my will.
Oh, you can't do that, Uncle Fabian.
Oh, of course not. Let me hold your wallet, huh?
Tell you what, you've got all day tomorrow to make me happy. If you fail miserably, no legacy.
The next morning rolled around, as mornings usually do.
Now, this here is a golf club, Uncle Fabian, and that there is a golf ball. Now, you hit the ball with the club.
Charlie fully expected that he would get hit instead of the ball, but incredibly enough.
A hole in one! Oh, doesn't that make you happy?
That's when Uncle Fabian took out his number 2 iron and beat his nephew unmercifully about the head.
How's the head feel?
Which one?
Guess we're going to finish out of the money, huh?
Looks like, babe.
Charles?
Yes, Uncle Ebenezer. Uncle Fabian.
You almost made me happy today. Let's play golf again tomorrow.
If you say so, Uncle Fabian.
Oh, and, see what you can do about keeping the other golfers off the course. I want you and me to play alone.
It was a strange request and not an easy one to fulfill.
I'm sorry, Charlie, but I can't stop the other golfers from playing.
In desperation, Charlie sought the services of an old owl who lived in a cave.
You see this statue of a heart? Place it in front of the first tee and never look at it again. I guarantee you and your rich Uncle Fabian will have the course to yourselves.
Hey, that's great, Owl. How much do I owe you?
8 cents. We got a special on statues of hearts this week.
Charlie wasted no time in rushing to the first tee and placing the statue where the owl had directed. The following morning, golfers from all over the land signed up to play golf, but ran into trouble. For on their way to the first tee, they casually glanced at the heart and were immediately frozen to the spot. Meanwhile, back at Charlie and Edna's house...
No borscht for breakfast, Charlie?
Oh, I ain't got time, Edna. Me and Uncle Fabian are due at the golf course.
Well, you better hurry. Uncle Fabian left an hour ago.
Oh, no. He doesn't know about the heart.
Charlie dashed pell-mell through the streets and got to the course in record time. There his worst fears were confirmed, for standing like a block of ice in front of the statue was Uncle Fabian. To make matters worse, Charlie, too, looked at the statue, and he, too, froze solid. Uncle Fabian was never to be happy, and Charlie and Edna remained penniless. And so, you see, son, never put the cart before the horse.
I get you, Pop. Only there's a better way of saying it.
Oh?
Yeah. Never put the heart before the course.
Never put the... let's go see that circus, Junior.
Master of the cinematic arts, Mr. Know-It-All.
Cinematic arts nothing. This is about the movies. Today our subject is how to direct temperamental movie stars. And our first example is a child star, little Muriel Merkel.
I's a bad girl, I is.
I am the only director in Hollywood who can make Muriel laugh. All right, little Muriel, the Colonel has come home from the war. Let's have a big laugh. A nice big laugh for America, Muriel. See, I really have a way with her. Next, we have Hoot Mix, a real He-Man who never lets a stuntman do any of his hard scenes. Okay, Hoot, let's see you fight with the dummy.
Anything you're saying, boss.
Cut! That was very good, Hoot. Oh! Hey, that's not in the script.
I know, I'm just ad-libbing.
Next, we have handsome Zip Farnsworth, the most temperamental man in the industry.
Yeah!
But I am so good, I have even persuaded him to do a soap commercial. Ready? Action! Okay, Zip, what is it you do with the soap of Hollywood stars?
That's what I do with it, Buster.
Thank you, Zip. And good night from Hollywood.
And now it's time
for 5 or 6 baritone solos in the key of E.
But...
Ooh.
Now for another of our special features.
Should have tried E flat.
Meshi Falfoof out there. Peabody here.
Meshi Falfoof, Mr. Peabody?
That's Arabic for hello, Sherman. For our destination today is the Arabian Desert, the time 1917, and the man we're going to meet, the legendary Lawrence of Arabia. We set the Wayback Controls and were immediately teleported back through time and space. All of a sudden, there we were, inside British Secret Service headquarters at Cairo.
Gentlemen, I have 2 reasons for believing that Turkey is going to declare war on us. One, they've cut off our supply of Thanksgiving turkeys.
Oh, that's terrible. Bad show, that.
And 2, they've sent a nasty letter to Parliament.
Oh, the devil you say. They wouldn't do this.
Now, we must send someone to steal the Turkish plans. Do I have any volunteers?
For some strange reason, the room emptied.
Dash it all, every time I ask for volunteers, they chicken out. I wish they'd turkey out this time.
Begging the Colonel's pardon, but you have a clerk in the outside office who can do the job. His name is Lawrence. The Colonel promptly called him in.
So, you think you can work undercover for us, eh, Lawrence?
I should jolly well like to try, sir.
Capital. By the way, what do you intend wearing as a disguise?
Instead of answering, Lawrence dashed from the room and quickly returned clad in a Santa Claus suit.
I thought I'd wear this Arab costume, sir.
Perhaps we better send someone else.
Mr. Peabody and I'll go with him.
Are you any good at Secret Service work, Peabody?
Colonel, I invented Secret Service. Convinced the matter was in capable paws, the Colonel bid farewell. That night, Sherman and I bought Arab outfits and went to Lawrence's hotel room.
I hope he's ready to go.
I hope he's wearing the proper disguise. But instead of being dressed like an Arab, he was dressed like a pilgrim.
How do you like it?
It's stunning, stunningly wrong. Grabbing a sheet from the bed and some mattress stuffing, we soon had him properly disguised. The next thing we did was to join a caravan heading into the desert.
Is the Turkish army out there, Mr. Peabody?
Indeed it is, and I must caution you both, don't do anything that would give us away. This caravan is undoubtedly crawling with spies.
Oh, you can count on me.
I was hoping I could, but the following morning when we paused at an oasis...
Tea time, chaps. Anyone for crumpets?
That was all it took before we were bound hand and foot.
Did I say something wrong?
You are all English spies. I, the Sultan, have ways of dealing with English spies.
We were tied to stakes under the broiling desert sun, and to show you how devilish that Sultan was, he put bottles of suntan lotion just out of arm's reach.
How will we ever get out of this, Mr. Peabody?
How, Sherman? It's simple. You always have a candy bar in your pocket, don't you?
Yes.
Good. Reach in, grab it, and wipe the chocolate off on my ropes. And that's the boy. Now, if I know my camels... Sure enough, the odor of chocolate attracted the nearest beast, and in no time at all, he was dining on the ropes. Before long, we were all free. Sherman, you and Lawrence wait here while I sneak into the Sultan's tent and get the secret plans. I made my way carefully past the Turkish guards and into the tent where the Sultan was resting. Inside a pouch labeled Secret Plans, I found what I was after. Unfortunately...
I say, Peabody, old chap, whilst you're looking for the secret plans, see if you can find a tea cozy.
Naturally, the Sultan awoke and immediately sounded the alarm. Quick, Lawrence, this way! We ducked out a rear exit while the guards began a frantic search. I'll go get Sherman. You saddle up a camel.
You can count on me.
Yes. I found Sherman where I had left him.
Peabody, Sherman over here.
I had instructed Lawrence to saddle a camel. Instead, he had saddled the Sultan.
Guards, come here, quick! The English dogs are here!
Before we could move, we were hopelessly surrounded. That's when I reached into Lawrence's pocket and pulled out a hand grenade. Stop! One more step, and I'll blow us right off the Rocky Show.
But I say, Peabody, old thing, that's not a grenade.
Later, Lawrence, later. The threat of an explosion did the trick. 1 week later, the entire Turkish army turned itself over to the British. Now, what about that grenade, Lawrence?
I was trying to tell you that's an apple. If you had pulled the stem out and thrown the ruddy thing, nothing would have happened. Watch.
Lawrence got 60 days for destroying Secret Service headquarters. As for the Sultan and his army, they were put inside large barns containing hay.
I don't get it, Mr. Peabody. How come they're in there?
Well, apparently, Sherman, somebody likes a turkey in the straw.
What's the matter? Hats off to you. To thy colors, ochre and Alice blue, we will e'er be faithful and true. Hail, what's the matter? Hail, better we should be in jail. Hey, what's the matter, you?
The stirring strains of the college fight song herald the big game between Wassamata U and Boris Badanov's Mud City Manglers.
But gee, Rock, the Mud City Manglers are girls.
They look awful big for girls.
I guess football doesn't appeal to the petite ones.
And on the way to the football field, Boris and Natasha dashed into an illegal betting parlor.
Okay, Manny, what's the odds on the big conflict?
World War III, 6-5, and pick 'em.
No, the Wasamata game.
Oh, an unbeaten team playing a bunch of girls? 500-1 on Wasamata.
I'll just take me some of that. I'll bet all this on Mud City.
And I'll bet all this.
Fearless leader, where did you get all the loot?
Bad enough, that is the entire contents of the Pottsylvania Treasury.
You carry the treasury wherever you go?
You don't think I'd leave it with those crooks in my government, do you?
Who says you can't take it with you?
All right, boys, you got a bet, but you're throwing your money away.
Who says?
I hope he's wrong, and you're right, bad enough.
Oh, I am.
Because there's something else I always carry around with me.
A cheery smile?
No, my own firing squad.
Oh, boy. Natasha, we really got to make sure of this one.
But, darling, we already got fiendish plans.
We can't take chances. This time our fiendish plan will have a fiendish plan.
And back in our hero's dormitory room...
Come on, Bullwinkle. It's time we left for the game.
Just a sec, Rock. I'm still studying these new plays.
Why? The only play you know is the forward pass. Besides, you're not the quarterback.
No, I'm the all-back.
Fullback.
Yeah.
Oh, if our boys only knew, for at that moment, the Wasamata quarterback, Bob Waterbucket, was receiving a caller.
I don't wear a collar. My neck's too big.
Not a collar, a caller.
Oh.
Emergency telegram for Bob Waterbucket.
That's me.
Well, read it.
It's got long words in it.
Ooh. Oh, very well. It says your aunt in a Zuzi fell down and broke her crown. You should rush right out there.
But I can't. I gotta call the big game.
In that case, here's another telegram. The president has just declared the national emergency. You're drafted.
I'll get a deferment. I gotta call the big game.
Oh, boy. In that case, here's my third and last emergency telegram.
Nothing can stop me from calling that game.
It's from a professional football team. They want to hire you for... You're not going to call the game?
Sure, I'm calling it off.
As a result of Waterbucket's sudden departure, Coach Rocky Canute had a tough decision to make.
Okay, Moose, you're quarterback.
Boo!
Oh, come on, fellas. Even the Moose should be able to beat a team of schoolgirls.
But as we know, the Mud City Manglers are only disguised as girls. Actually, they're a tough bunch of thugs and plug uglies.
But, Boris, suppose the moose remembers all the plays.
What plays? I got the only other copy of the diagrams here.
Then what was Moose studying?
The diagrams I substituted for them.
Which were?
For 3 weeks, the Moose has been studying battle plans for the Civil War.
Well, it looks as if the South may rise again. Don't miss Mine Eyes Have Seen the Gory or Mooses in the Cold, Cold Ground.
Well, it looks as if our time is just about run out.
Mine must be a little slow.
You got the credits, Bullwinkle?
All on this itty-bitty card. Oop.
We're late again, Bullwinkle.
Right.
Bye now. See you next time.
A thunder of jets in an open sky, a streak of gray, and a cheerful... A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again, you'll know it's time for the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. Starring that supersonic speedster, Rocket J. Squirrel, with his pal Bullwinkle the Moose, and a host of others.
Hurry, Bullwinkle! The show's about to start!
I'm coming as fast as I can.
Wave to the people!
Yay!
Now what are you doing?
Signing autographs. Let's see. John Smith.
But your name is Bullwinkle!
I know, but that's hard to spell. One more.
Well, there's no turning back now. There really is going to be a game between the Mud City Manglers and the Wasamata U Pigeons.
What's more, Bullwinkle is now our quarterback.
And what's more, these are the diagrams of the plays we're gonna play.
And what's more, they're the wrong diagrams.
Yes, Boris had switched diagrams, and the hapless moose was now going over a set of battle plans of the Civil War.
Or as we call it, the war between the states.
Now, wait a minute. Who are you?
Colonel Jefferson Beauregard Lee, sir.
Yeah, but you're not part of our story.
No, I'm from the League of Confederate Correctors.
The League of Confederate Correctors?
Every time a program refers to the late unpleasantness as a Civil War.
You show up and correct them?
That's right, Shug. We call it the war between the states.
Yeah, but...
I just can't abide the word civil.
Meanwhile, in the locker room of the Mud City Manglers...
Remember, if any of your opponents walks off the field under his own power, it means 20 lashes. All right, men, and I use the term loosely, take the field.
The teams lined up, and Wasamata kicked to the Manglers. Instantly, there was a huddle, and when it broke up, nobody appeared to have the ball.
Who we supposed to tackle?
Come on, which of you girls has the ball?
What do you think I am, a rat?
You got it, lady?
And before the astonished crowd, the Manglers strolled innocently down the field past the baffled Wasamata players. Then as they reached the goal line, one of the scoundrels pulled the deflated ball from under his midi blouse.
Touchdown!
Touchdown!
Any objections, wise guy?
Miss, I'll thank you to keep a civil tongue in your head.
A war between the states, tongue.
Oh, boy.
Now, wait, Mr. Referee. Did that really count 6 points?
Well, of course not, Rocky. It counted 7 points.
Well, with the referee intimidated, the Manglers had it all their own way.
Hup!
Pass it, Bullwinkle! Ollie!
Boop!
Incomplete.
The pass?
The ball.
Are yous ready, Gertrude?
Let's have it, Sybil.
War between
I said Sybil, not civil.
Sorry, man.
Play the game! Play the game!
It was easier said than done.
We're close enough to try a little field goal, Bullwinkle. Just kick it between the goalposts.
Right, Rock. Hup!
The kick looked good until two Manglers moved the goalposts.
At this rate, we'll never win.
We'll be lucky to lose.
But on the next play...
Bullwinkle, look at this.
Good heavens, Rock! You've scalped the scatback.
Scalp nothing. This is a wig. Bullwinkle, they aren't girls at all.
Oh, darn.
What's the matter?
I was going to ask the halfback to the prom tonight.
Well, anyway, it's our ball.
Yeah, but look at that defensive line.
Hokey smoke, they've dug trenches.
And they've all got guns.
Mr. Referee, how about calling a penalty?
Oh, I will, Rocky. 5 yards against Wasamata for delaying the game.
Don't you have any courage?
Yes, but I've also got a wife and kiddies.
And with the score 7-0, the hands of the clock crept closer to defeat for our boys and triumph for Boris Badenov. Don't miss our next episode, Bullwinkle's Battle Plans or Civil
War between the states defense.
That is not funny.
I know. I can't abide jokes, neither.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
But that trick never worked.
This time for sure. Presto! Well, I'm getting close.
And now it's time for another special feature.
Many years ago in a primeval pond there were many frogs. But there was one frog among them who was different from all the rest. His mother called him Julius.
Julius, you sit around all day doing nothing. Why don't you go out and play leap people with the other frogs?
Thanks, but no thanks.
Oh, what is the matter with you, Julius? You haven't touched your lunch.
People have more fun than frogs.
Yes, I guess they do. Now eat your flies.
But it's no fun eating flies. In fact, being a frog is no fun, you know. If you want to have fun, you got to be a people because...
I know. People have more fun than frogs.
Yes, that was the trouble with Julius. People did have more fun than frogs, and he knew it. For many was the time he would sit by the road leading to the great kingdom and watch the people as they passed. They were all having fun. Julius couldn't stand it any longer, and knowing that he could never be happy unless he was a people, while the little frog hopped off into the dark woods to do something about it. By noon that same day, he arrived at the house of his fairy frog mother.
So you want to be a people, do you, Julius?
More than anything. Can you do it?
Well, of course. All I have to do is tap you with my wand, like this.
It worked, for he began to grow, and suddenly... Unfortunately, there are all types of people, and Julius had turned into the type that is fat and bald with a long nose. It's quite possible that Julius would have had fun, but for one thing. The first person he chanced to meet was the local bully.
Hey, Fatso, come here.
Yes?
Hey, let me see if that nose is real. Hey, what do you know it is? Boy, I'd like to have that thing full of nickels.
And from that moment on, everywhere Julius went, people laughed at it. Now, this is no fun, even if you are a people. So Julius returned to the house of his fairy frog mother.
Well, land's sake, why didn't you tell me you wanted to be a handsome people?
Never mind. The point is, could you do it now?
Well, certainly. I simply have to tap you with my wand and...
When the smoke cleared, he had been changed into a fine, strong, handsome young man. Now, certain that he could begin to have fun as a handsome people, Julius hurried back to town. It was then that another unfortunate thing happened. The evil king of a neighboring kingdom declared war. And Julius was drafted. Army life was not easy on Julius.
Name?
Julius will run us.
Where were you born?
In a pond in New Jersey.
Very funny. Sign here. Next.
Good heavens, where did you get those flat feet?
Well, it's simple, you know, like you say, I'm really a frog and...
Very funny. Next.
Turn your head and cough.
Hey, hey, he, hey, her, hey!
There were months of drilling, marching, and intensive training. Then finally, Julius was marched into battle where his luck ran true to form, for Julius was the first casualty. Weeks later, when he was released from the hospital, Julius once again hurried to his fairy frog mother.
I'm telling you, frog mother, I could not stand to go through a thing like that again, you know. So, like, you gotta make me 4F.
All righty. All I have to do...
I know, tap me with your wand, but not so hard.
A tap of that little frog mother's wand was enough to make anybody 4F. So, for the third time, Julius headed for town to have fun as a people. He'd only gone a short distance along the road when he suddenly heard a startling sound. And there, just ahead, he saw a large, vicious dog that had chased someone up a tree.
Go away. Shoo. Scat. Then it's safe to come down now. Jump and I will catch you. Well, I will be. I did not know that dogs treat pigs.
I'm not a pig, silly. I'm a princess. And because you saved my life, you get to marry me.
Marry? Yuck. You?
Yes. Isn't it romantic?
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy.
I'll have Father arrange for the wedding right away.
No.
Hey, come back!
This time it was a desperate Julius that ran to the house of his fairy frog mother.
I never want to be a people again. Change me back into a frog mother. Hurry, hit me with your wand.
Can't. Broke it over your head when I made you 4F. But there is a way. If you can just hold out until the clock strikes 12, the spell will be broken, and you'll turn back into a frog all by yourself.
Peekaboo!
Julius ran like a deer for the next 5 hours. Then, when it seemed as though he simply couldn't take another step, the big clock in the tower struck 12. And with a blinding flash, Julius turned back into a frog. And he never did have any fun. Now, one would admit that this is rather a sad tale of a frog, but don't feel too badly because not a word of it is true, for you see, it's a well-known fact that frogs don't have tails.
Hi there! Today's poem is all about my grandfather's clock.
Sure is a big one.
Yup. My grandfather's clock was too large for the shelf, so it stood 90 years on the floor.
How come it's not running?
See, it says always his treasure and pride. It stopped short, never to go again when the old moose died.
Your grandfather's dead, Bullwinkle?
Not exactly. He just sort of disappeared. But that doesn't rhyme so good.
And the clock hasn't run all these years, huh?
What do you mean all these years? He disappeared yesterday.
Yesterday? And the clock stopped? Hey, do you suppose...
Uh-oh. Let me open her up. Grandpa, it's you!
You're expecting maybe John Cameron Swayze?
Well, if that don't beat all, how could anybody be so stupid as to get locked up in a clock?
Stupid? Why, it's easy. Like this.
Oh!
Now there's something you don't see every day, Rocky.
What's that, Grandpa?
A clock with a face on both sides.
And now it's time...
Time for that jolly juggler, Bullwinkle.
Oh, dear.
3 at once. 1, 2...
And now here's a feature you're sure to like.
3.
Somewhere in the inner regions of outer northwest Canada, an inventor was at work. And that inventor was Snidely Whiplash. And his invention, Dudley Do-Right of the Mounties.
Well, not exactly. It's a mechanical Dudley Do-Right.
He doesn't move, Snidely.
Of course he doesn't move. That's what this key is for.
Gee, if he could only talk, he'd be the spitting image of Dudley Do-Right.
What do you mean, not talk? What do you think I bought this record for?
Yes, sir, Inspector Fenwick. Hello, Nell. It's Tommy this and Tommy that and chuck him out, the brute. But it's savior of his country when the guns begin to shoot.
What was that last there?
Kipling.
Yes, sir, Inspector Fenwick. Hello, Nell.
Gee, he looks real fine, Snidely. Real fine. But what are you going to do with him?
Don't you see, Homer? We're going to kidnap the real Dudley Do-Right and substitute the mechanical one.
Why are we going to do that, Snidely?
Because in that way we'll be able to carry forth our nefarious mischief without the real Dudley Do-Right interfering.
So, as the real Dudley Do-Right was taking an afternoon stroll, Snidely Whiplash substituted the mechanical Dudley Do-Right.
Why, hello, Dudley.
Yes, sir, Inspector Fenwick.
I'm not Father. I'm Nell.
Hello, Nell.
I just bought the most beautiful hat. What do you think of it, Dudley?
It's Tommy this and Tommy that and chuck him out, the brute. But it's savior of his country when the guns begin to shoot.
What guns, Dudley?
Yes, sir, Inspector Fenwick.
Yes, sir, what, Dudley?
Hello, Nell.
Hello, Dudley.
Come with me, Dudley. I have a job for you.
It's Tommy this and Tommy that and...
And none of your back talk, Do-Right.
Meanwhile, back in Snidely Whiplash's shack, the real Dudley Do-Right was talking.
Oh, Snidely Whiplash, you will never get away with this, for everyone knows there is only one Dudley Do-Right of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Beware of substitute brands.
Come off it, Do-Right. They'll never know the difference.
And these two culprits are trying to smuggle furs across the border. I want you to bring them in.
Hello, Nell.
I've noticed something strange about Dudley. He's more succinct. Succinctness. I like that in my Mounties. Good work, Dudley.
But it's savior of his country when the guns begin to shoot.
Put up quite a fight, did they?
Yes, sir, Inspector Fenwick.
I thought so.
Hello, Nell.
What?
They're robbing the bank! Yes, surprising as it may seem, the mechanical Dudley Do-Right was a better Mountie than the real Dudley Do-Right. It always got its man. much to the chagrin of Snidely Whiplash.
Homer, I think I've created a monster.
So Snidely Whiplash took back the real Dudley Do-Right to the RCMP.
Inspector Fenwick, what you think is the real Dudley Do-Right is in verite a mechanical Dudley Do-Right. Here is the real Dudley Do-Right.
Yes, sir, Inspector. What he's telling you is the truth. Yes, sir, Inspector Fenwick.
Oh, are you trying to tell me I don't know the difference between a mechanical do-right and a real Dudley Do-Right? Why, this is the real Dudley Do-Right.
Hello, Nell.
And you, sir, are an imposter.
But, Inspector Fenwick!
Out! Out, the two of you, before I have Do-Right here throw you in the stockade.
Gee.
Where did I go wrong, Do-Right? Compose yourself, Whiplash. We'll get to the seat of this problem now. Oh! Oh, the key! I completely forgot about the key. Why, Dudley Do-Right is due to run down almost any time now.
Now, Do-Right, I want you to listen carefully, because this is possibly the most important assignment of your career as a mounter.
Hello, Nell. Hello, Nell. Hello, Nell. Hello, Nell.
What's wrong, Dudley? You seem a little redundant today.
Hello, 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 hello. But it's savior of his country when the guns begin to shoot. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Dudley, pull yourself together.
Aha, Inspector! Now you see with your own two eyes that I am the real Dudley Do-Right of the Mounties.
Well, perhaps you're right.
Then tell me, what is this assignment you have for me that is so important?
Assignment? Oh, the assignment! Well, the assignment is to hurry up and put that machine together again. That was the best Dudley Do-Right the Mounties ever had.
Yes, Inspector Fenwick. Yes, Inspector Fenwick.
Ready, Rock?
You sure you know how to work that thing?
No. Anyways, here's what it was supposed to look like.
In our last episode, you remember, Wasamata's football future looked very dim. First, Boris Baranov's Mud City Manglers had intimidated the referee.
Intimidated? Heck, I'm terrified.
Then they had turned their defensive game into trench warfare, complete with barbed wire and gun emplacements. And to make matters even worse, Boris had stolen all of Wasamata's plays.
Natasha, now I think I'll take up smoking cigars.
Why now?
So I can light one with these football plays.
Other people use $100 bill, darling.
Right now, these are worth $1 million.
Yes, they were, for Boris had made hundreds of bets on the game in illegal gambling joints all over the nation.
Hey, Manny, it looks like that girls' team is going to beat what's the matter, you.
Don't worry, Lefty. I'm prepared.
You're going to pay off?
You kidding? You see that emergency box on the wall?
In case of disaster, break glass. What's inside, money?
Nope, a one-way ticket to Brazil.
At that moment, the referee raised his pistol to signify the end of the first half. Lying flat on the ground, our heroes were safe momentarily, but the spectators in the end zone didn't make out as well.
Manny, the Mud City Manglers just shot away the end of the stadium. What do you say to that?
Adios, amigos. Boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, 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 chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, boom, boom.
When our heroes finally made it under fire to their dressing room, gloom was written on every face.
Except mine. I got despair written on mine.
If only they hadn't stolen our football plays.
Well, they left these in their place.
Bullwinkle, those aren't football plays. Those are battle plans for the Civil War.
War between the states, you mean?
Colonel Beauregard, you hear?
Us members of the League of Confederate Correctors is everywhere.
I've noticed.
I just can't abide the word civil.
Well, here, maybe you'd like to have these plans.
My pleasure. Chancellorsville. There was a battle. What a cavalry charge.
Looks more like an end run to me.
Bullwinkle, that's it. If the Manglers are going to use battle tactics on the gridiron, why can't we?
Why can't we?
Bullwinkle, you've done it again.
Come up with a brilliant plan and like that.
Yes, sir.
Now there's just that one little question.
Yeah?
What is it?
This is the plan. Instead of football plays, we're going to use the battle plans of the... I was going to say war between the states.
Us Confederate correctors can never be too sure.
And so when the whistle blew for the second half of the game, it was a strange-looking team that emerged from the Wasamata U dressing room.
Look at them fellas, Roof. They gonna fight the war all over again.
Shucks, we Southerners been doing that for years.
The ball was snapped and Bullwinkle commanded.
By the right flank, ho!
Well, the game started up again, but this time the Mud City Manglers were no match for the military genius of the flower of the Confederacy. In one great flanking motion, the Wasamatta team turned the end of the line and swept down the field.
Bullwinkle, you did it! There's the goal, just ahead!
Hey!
Bullwinkle, why are you stopping?
Which direction are we running in, Corporal?
Well, south, of course.
South, eh? I thought so. These plans call for us to go north.
And Bullwinkle turned and began dashing toward his own goal line. On he went, swivel-hipping his way through the opposition.
Dag nabbit, you said civil.
All right, war between the states hipping his way through the opposition. Oh, what can save the game for our boys?
Maybe we could get some new writers.
Don't miss our next historical episode, Bullwinkle Buys a Fence, or Pickett's Charge.
Well, it looks as if our time is just about run out.
Mine must be a little slow.
You got the credits, Bullwinkle?
All on this itty-bitty card. Oop!
Right. Bye now. See you next time.
A thunder of jets in an open sky, a streak of gray, and a cheerful... A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again, you'll know it's time for the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. Starring that supersonic speedster, Rocket J. Squirrel, with his pal Bullwinkle the Moose, and a host of others.
Hurry, Bullwinkle! The show's about to start!
I'm coming as fast as I can.
Wave to the people!
Yay!
Now what are you doing?
Signing autographs. Let's see. John Smith.
But your name is Bullwinkle.
I know, but that's hard to spell.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. Come on and join us.
Sure, there's always room for one more.
That loud wailing noise you hear is the sobbing of thousands of bookmakers all over the country. For every one of these illegal gamblers bet that unbeaten Wasamatta U would trounce a girls' team known as the Mud City Manglers, little realizing that the Manglers were owned by Boris Badenov and had been coached by fearless leader himself.
Hold that line, fellows.
Oh, they won't retreat, Badenov.
How can you be sure?
The second team is right behind them, with bayonets.
What?
See?
The hapless bookies watched as the Manglers held Wasamatta U scoreless for the first half.
I'll never make another bet again as long as I live.
3-1 you do.
You're on.
You lose.
Things looked a little brighter for our boys when Rocky decided to play the game according to some old battle plans of the war between the states.
Now you're talking, Yankee.
But even this idea backfired when Bullwinkle decided to take the plan seriously.
But Bullwinkle...
Colonel Moose to you, Corporal.
Oh, boy.
What direction are we heading?
South.
You mean south?
Yeah, south. So what?
This here plan says we march north. No, it is.
And with flags flying, Bullwinkle began running toward his own goal line.
Again?
Disaster was imminent, but as fate would have it, the clock suddenly marked the end of the quarter.
What's the trouble?
Now the teams change goals. Moose is now running in right direction.
Yes, at that moment, Bullwinkle dashed into the end zone for a touchdown.
Hooray! That's 6 points.
But the referee, who was under some pressure, decided...
No, only 3 points.
3.
It's a handicap. After all, you're playing an all-girl team.
Yous wouldn't want to take advantage of a lady, would yous?
But you're not a lady.
Sir, yous is a cat.
Penalty on the play.
About time. How many yards do we get?
I'm penalizing Wasamata 30 yards, insulting a lady.
Yeah, but that puts us behind our own goal line. That's a touchback.
Right, 3 points for Mud City.
3 points.
They get an extra point for being girls.
Bullwinkle, we can't win.
That's the general idea, Squirrel.
And who are you?
I'm the leader of the all-girl team.
You are?
I'm the Phil Spitalny of the gridiron.
Yeah, but those aren't really girls.
I know that. You know that. But does the referee know that?
Do you know that?
All I know is this fella behind me has a gun aimed right at my 50-yard line.
Bullwinkle, that fella's intimidating a referee.
Not very well. He doesn't look like one at all.
No, I mean he's threatening that poor little guy's life.
Well, that does it, Rock. Now my dandruff is up. Give me those battle plans, ladies or no ladies. This is war.
And it was. In the next 10 minutes, Wasamata U replayed the entire last 2 years of the Civil War.
War between the states.
And this time the South won.
In that case, you can call it the Civil War.
Yes, just before the final gun sounded, Rocky flashed into the clear and zoomed for the goal line.
Bullwinkle, pass it to me. Ollie!
But that was the moment Boris Badenov had been waiting for. He quickly seized a large rock, painted it to look like a football, and hurled it right at the unsuspecting squirrel. Oh, don't miss our next heart-stopping episode, A Rock for Rock, or To Each His Stone.
And now it's time for...
Time for the dancing fool, Bullwinkle.
Again? And now for one of our special fairy tales.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, which is always a nice way to start a fairy tale, there was a great white castle in which lived a powerful duke who was a very proud man. He was proud because he was tall and straight and handsome and brave, but he was proudest of all when he took off his hat, for he had a huge head of bushy, flaming red hair not to be equaled by anyone in the kingdom.
Oh, I love my red hair. It gives me fire.
He would comb it 100 strokes every day.
1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4.
It was his habit upon arising each morning to go to his mirror, which, by the way, was a magic mirror, admire his flaming locks, then...
Mirror, mirror, hanging there, tell me who has the reddest hair.
Violets are blue, roses are red, but it's only your dome that is redder than red.
This went on day after day, year after year, and the mirror always answered the same. That is, until one morning...
Mirror, mirror, hanging there, tell me who has the reddest hair.
Your hair is red, that's very true. But the girl who spins has hair redder than you.
Who?
Girl who spins.
Redder than me?
Makes you look like a bleached blonde, Booby.
Shocked and horrified, the Duke ran to his address book.
G. Girl who spins. 728, small house in the forest.
Armed with the address, the Duke mounted his fastest horse and galloped off into the forest at top speed. When he arrived, he saw that what the mirror had said was true, for there, at a spinning wheel, sat a lovely young girl that had long, blazing red hair that hung down to her, hips.
My, but that's red. I say, what is your name, fair maiden?
My hair is red as fire and my skin is white as cream, so my name is Red White.
Hair's red, all right.
Rinse job?
No, natural.
Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you'll have to dye it black.
Oh, I can't.
Why not?
I'm waiting for my true love, and he will only know me by my red hair. My fairy godmother told me so.
Now, see here. I happen to be a powerful duck.
That's Duke.
Oh, thank you. And you'd better dye your hair black, or you're going to find yourself in big trouble.
With that, the Duke turned and galloped away. Not as fast as he had arrived, however, for he had forgotten his horse. The poor girl was frightened, and as she sat weeping, her fairy godmother appeared.
Oh, there, honey. Now, don't blubber.
But if I dye my hair, my true love won't know me. And if I don't, I'll get into big trouble.
You just leave it red, dearie. I can handle that duck.
That's Duke.
Oh, yes.
The following morning...
Mirror, mirror, hanging there. Tell me now who has the reddest hair.
Red, white, like I said. Weren't you listening?
News is bad enough, but you didn't even bother to make a rhyme out of it.
Furious, the Duke wasted no time.
You must dye your hair black within 24 hours, or you will go to the pokey. Now, good day.
Godmother!
Oh, here I am, honey. Don't come unglued. Take these nettles that grow beside the road and put them in your spinning wheel. Every day you spin nettles, that Duke will lose 32 hairs.
Doing as she was told, Red White took the nettles and set herself to spinning. The very next day, the Duke was combing his hair the usual 100 strokes when...
1 potato, 2 potatoes, 3 potatoes, 4, 5 potatoes, 6 potatoes... Hey, what's this? My comb, it's full of hair. Mirror, mirror, look at this. My beautiful red hair is coming out.
I can see that, Bobby, and you're not rhyming either.
I know. There's no time for that. Tell me what's happening.
Well, you understand, it's like kind of a hex. You know, a fairy tale whammy. Every day that Red White spins nettles, you lose 32 hairs.
The fiend! She's got to be stopped.
Taking a stout rope, the Duke sped to Red White and bound her securely.
There! Oh, I'd like to see you spin nettles with your hands tied, buddy.
But she did. For being a clever girl, Red White managed quite well to spin more nettles with her feet.
29, 30, 31, 32. Oh, she's at it again. Mirror, speak to me. What am I going to do?
I'm rather sorry that you called, for by tomorrow you shall be bald.
Excellent. You're rhyming again.
I know. Makes it more like a fairy tale.
And just as the mirror had said, by the following day, every last red hair on the Duke's head was gone.
You can stop spinning now, kid. You win. And I might add, I'm very unhappy about the whole thing.
Well, I'm unhappy, too. Even though I've kept my red hair, my true love has not come for me.
Gee, that's tough. Well, so long.
Wait! It seems as though I've made a slight mistake. The duck here...
That's Duke.
Yes, the Duke here. He's your true love.
Me?
Him?
Darling.
Sweetie.
It's too bad I didn't figure that out till he lost his hair, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
And so, as you knew they would...
They lived happily ever after. Hey, Bobby, what rhymes with after? Hi there, culture bugs. Today's epic is a poem about the English garden, name of the cherry tree. Up into the cherry tree, who should climb but little me? I held the trunk with both my hands and looked abroad on foreign lands. I saw the dimpling river pass and be the sky's blue looking glass, and dusty roads go up and down with... Hi there, Dusty.
I say, Hatchet, I do believe there's a poacher in your cherry tree.
A poacher? Confound the rascal.
I saw the pleasant garden lie, adorned with signs before my eye. Hatchet Manor, keep out, this means you. Hey, that don't rhyme.
I say, who's up there?
Ain't nobody here but us cherries.
Will you come down at once?
Well, you asked for it.
Good heavens, what's happened to Hatchet?
I cannot tell a lie. I did it with my little cherry tree.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
But...
See? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Wrong hat.
And now it's time to meet Mr. Peabody.
Hello there, Peabody here.
And I'm Sherman, huh, Mr. Peabody?
Yes, you are Sherman. Now, if you'll take your place beside the Wayback Machine, we shall be on our way.
Where to today?
Today we're traveling back in time to the year 1455 and the place Strasbourg, Germany, where we shall meet the inventor of the first practical printing press, Johannes Gutenberg.
All set, Mr. Peabody.
Sherman and I entered the Wayback, and in less time than it takes to twitch an eye, we were transported back and into the small printing shop of Herr Gutenberg, where we found the great man hard at work with his new press.
Hi, Mr. Gutenberg. I'm Sherman, and this is...
Don't bother me, kid. I got a newspaper to get out here, and I can't waste any time if I expect to make the 5 o'clock edition.
Gutenberg continued his work at a feverish pitch. However, when he finally finished...
Good, at last I'm done.
Mr. Peabody, do you see what I see?
I'm afraid so, Sherman. It seems as though Johannes Gutenberg has made a slight mistake.
Mistake? What mistake? Where?
You have printed the 5-star final on pants instead of paper.
That's no mistake. It was a calculated decision on purpose because I couldn't find paper.
But it will never do to have the news printed on a pair of trousers.
Why not? See, back here I have printed all of the latest word about the county seat. And down here I put the advertisements because day is on the cuff anyway.
All well and good, but Sherman is right. A newspaper should be printed on paper.
I already told you I can't find any paper, and there's no time to look for some, because if I don't meet the 5 o'clock deadline, the bank is going to foreclose on the mortgage.
It's 3 o'clock now. That doesn't give us much time, but I think we can make it if we hurry. Come, Sherman, we will get some paper. Sherman and I dashed out of the print shop and into a butcher shop, which, fortunately, was right next door. 6 pounds of weenies, please.
Weenies? But I thought we were after paper.
What does the butcher usually wrap weenies in, Sherman?
Butcher paper?
Yes, but nonetheless it is paper. Paying for the weenies, we quickly took the package and hurried back to Herr Gutenberg.
Oh, that's good. This is just what I've been waiting for.
He had been gone for quite some time when suddenly I noticed something very peculiar. Do you hear something, Sherman?
Not a thing, Mr. Peabody. Should I?
Yes, we should be hearing the sound of Gutenberg's printing press. Something is wrong, Sherman. Hurrying into the back room, we immediately saw that something was wrong indeed, for there sat Johannes Gutenberg eating weenies.
Herr Gutenberg, what are you doing?
Why, I'm eating the lunch you brought me. What else?
I'm afraid that's your second mistake, my friend. That wasn't your lunch. You were to use that paper for your 5 o'clock edition.
Ooh, I forgot, and it's 4:15 already. Stand back, I got printing to do.
Gutenberg flew into his work like a demon, and in record time he had the job done.
I done it. Now I can go out to a corner and sell my very first newspaper.
It looked very much like success was his, but suddenly...
Egad, what's happening, Mr. Peabody? It sounds like a riot.
It is a riot, Sherman, and Herr Gutenberg is just 2 jumps ahead of it.
What happened, Mr. Gutenberg? Didn't the people like your paper?
Oh, they liked the paper all right, but what they didn't like was there was no printing on it.
It was true. The newspaper he had just printed was completely blank on both sides. For his third mistake of the day, Herr Gutenberg had used the wrong bottle of ink in his press. Invisible ink, that is. 20 minutes to 5, there's still a chance you can make it.
It's no use, I can't do it.
Why not?
I'm all mixed up from my troubles. I can't think of anything to print. Pardon me. Hello? What? Really? Quick, give me the address. Okay, got it. Ooh, am I in luck? There's a fire, and that's big news. It gives me just what I need to write about.
Good. We can be reporters and cover the story for you.
Yes, but we must hurry. Get the address, Sherman. Sherman and I raced across town and made excellent time, for the signals were with us. However, when we arrived...
Hey, this can't be right. There's nothing here but a lake.
Let me see that slip of paper. Just as I suspected, Sherman. You had the paper upside down. You brought us to 666 instead of 999 Schnitzel Street.
Gee, I'm sorry, Mr. Peabody. Just where is 999 Schnitzel Street?
I'm afraid that's the address of Gutenberg's printing shop.
Oh, the fire really wiped me out this time. The only thing I saved was the clock and the press.
And it's 5 minutes to 5. I guess there's nothing else you can do, Mr. Peabody.
There is always something I can do, Sherman. Gutenberg's 5 o'clock edition will hit the street right on schedule. Give me a hand.
Gosh, you did it, Mr. Peabody, without a minute to spare.
Yes, and that is the first true printing of Johannes Gutenberg.
Extra! Read all about me. On me. Extra!
But tell me, Mr. Peabody, why did you print such big letters on his forehead?
That, Sherman, should be quite obvious. Every newspaper has to have a headline.
Today's lesson is mighty important, remember?
Bullwinkle is a...
Not that lesson. This lesson.
last quarter of the episode, our heroes were right on the verge of winning their game with the Mud City Manglers, or losing it, as the case may be. For Rocky the Flying Squirrel had just zoomed into the clear of the goal line and shouted back at Bullwinkle.
A forward pass, Bullwinkle! Hurry!
Oop! But the oop had come from Boris Badenoff, who had thrown not a football, but a cleverly disguised rock.
Would you like a nice squirrel coat, fearless leader?
You got one, Badenoff?
No, but I know somebody who won't be needing one in a minute.
But let us stop everything right here and change our scene to an emergency meeting of the Bookmakers and Gamblers Protective Association.
Fellow bookies, I would like to take advantage of this brief moment to remind you of our untenable position.
Our what?
Our lousy setup.
Oh.
Look, the squirrel is going to get clobbered, right?
Right.
Now, if he loses the game, we got to pay off to Badenoff, right?
Right.
Wrong. There ain't enough money in the world to pay off at the odds we gave him.
So what do we do, skip town?
Would I suggest a cheap trick like skipping town?
Sorry, Mickey.
I suggest we skip the country.
Why don't we go?
Yeah. Who'd want crooks like us?
Follow me, boys. I know a country that'll take anybody.
But the villains had reckoned without the keen eyes and instant reflexes of our furry hero.
Hokey smokes, that's not a football!
And Rocky swiftly zipped to one side. The heavy stone passed him and plummeted right for the timid referee, who still had a gun held at his back by one of Boris's thugs.
Duck! Duck!
Hey, what's he mean, duck, duck?
Maybe there's a flock of them coming over.
Hey, that ain't no flock of ducks. That's a rock.
But where's Bullwinkle?
You called?
Yes, out of the pall and smoke and flame that covered the gridiron galloped Bullwinkle Moose, the football dangling from his antlers.
Quick, Bullwinkle! There's only a few seconds left.
Now, what do we do, Badenoff?
Relax, fearless leader.
Relax.
Sure, Mike. Look at this diagram of the end zone.
What are the circles?
Landmines. I've mined the whole end zone.
Explosive landmines in a football field? Badenoff, that's a rotten thing to do.
I just knew you would like it, fearless leader.
Boris, I like to have you around. You're my kind of folks.
Could I call you FL?
I'm on my way up, Boris, and I'm going to take you with me.
But alas for the villain's plans, Bullwinkle dashed into the end zone, turned and galloped all the way across it, and didn't step on one mine.
Touchdown!
Yay!
6 points.
What's the matter, wins?
Yay! So you had landmines in the end zone, eh, Badenoff?
I can't understand it, fearless leader. I could swear I had one right. Well, you were right, fearless leader. You're on the way up, and I'm going with you.
And so, what's the matter? You finished its season unbeaten.
Only one fly in the ointment, Bullwinkle.
Well, that's about par for ointment. What is it?
I didn't like all those gamblers escaping to some other country.
If Rocky had only known the Bucky's boat was even then approaching its destination.
Well, there it is, man. Potsylvania.
And look, there's a reception committee to meet us. Hey, Charlie, if I ever get you 10, we goofed.
Bet heavily, Schweinhund. It's a sure thing.
And so we come to the end of another fun-filled episode of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
You know, Rock, he sure got some funny ideas about fun.
Well, it looks as if our time is just about run out.
Mine must be a little slow.
You got the credits, Bullwinkle?
All on this itty-bitty card. Oop.
Right. Bye now. See you next time.
A thunder of jets in an open sky, a streak of gray, and a cheerful... A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again, you'll know it's time for the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and friends. Starring that supersonic speedster, Rocket J. Squirrel, with his pal Bullwinkle the Moose, and a host of others.
Hurry, Bullwinkle! The show's about to start!
I'm coming as fast as I can.
Wave to the people!
Yay!
Now what are you doing?
Sign an autograph. Let's see. John Smith.
But your name is Bullwinkle.
I know, but that's hard to spell.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. Come on and join us.
Sure, there's always room for one more.
Our story opens today in a really ugly building in the really dreadful little country of Pennsylvania, where the Supreme Council is faced with a serious problem.
Gentlemen, the Supreme Council is faced with a serious problem.
We already heard that, Anatole. Go on.
Yes, fearless leader. Well, it seems that our balance of payments analysis shows a marked trend toward deficiency prorating of reserves with a corresponding shift in debit allotment of fiduciaries and soft inventory assets.
Translation?
We're broke.
Broke. But last Tuesday, the treasurer said we had 80 million pazoolas.
Ah, but last Tuesday we also had a treasurer.
You mean?
Yes, fearless leader. He took the 80 million and skipped the country.
Oh, that makes me so mad. I'm furious.
About the treasurer stealing the treasury?
No, about I didn't think of it first.
Well, that's how the check bounces, fearless leader.
This problem calls for special care, a high order of intelligence, extreme subtlety and finesse, a brilliant strategy.
And so?
I'll handle it myself. Achtung! Dismissed! Those fools! Little do they know the answer lies just behind this door. And here it is. Pennsylvania's answer to Bernard Baruch, the advisor-vac.
Yes, there on a park bench sat a large black box with a number of flashing lights and a Hamburg hat on top. A Pennsylvanian mechanical brain.
Tell me, dear old box, where can we find the money?
The machine whirred and clicked and suddenly deposited a small slip of paper in Fearless Leader's hand.
The United States? But how do we get it? Pennsylvania, of course. Oh, Advisor-vac, what would I do without you? Drop dead?
And in a little while, Fearless Leader was closeted with that double-dyed villain, that prince of no-goods, that Schlemiel.
Say the name.
Boris Badenov.
Badenov, you know why I've called you in on this job?
Because I'm trustworthy, loyal, brave, and efficient.
No, because you work cheap.
That too.
Badenov, do you know anything about Pennsylvania?
Sure. My uncle came down with a bad case from it just last year.
No, you nitwit. Pennsylvania is a spot on the globe.
That's what my uncle came down with, spots on the globe.
Badenov, I want you to watch this television program featuring the moose and the squirrel.
What I do? I didn't do nothing. What I do?
Quiet.
And here on the soggy shores of Pennsylvania, we find our heroes Rocky the Flying Squirrel and Bullwinkle Moose.
Boy, what a terrible place.
Only too true. Pennsylvania is the wettest, soggiest, dreariest place on earth.
You forgot useless.
Useless, too. Situated directly between the United States and Canada, Pennsylvania has the distinction of being constantly fought over by both countries. The U.S. insists it's part of Canada, and Canada insists it's part of the U.S.
But why do we come here on our vacation?
'Cause after 2 weeks in Pennsylvania, any place else in the world seems like heaven.
Well, how does Fearless Leader plan to use Pennsylvania to get money from the United States? And how does Boris fit into all this? And what will Advisor-vac say next? Oh, stop asking questions, loudmouth. The episode's over. Gee, so it is.
Junior, what are you doing?
I just chopped down this old tree, Dad.
Yeah, I noticed that, but why?
'Cause my girl and I have broken up.
That is no reason to chop down a tree.
Well, you see, I carved our initials on this tree last Valentine's Day, and I don't want to have to look at 'em anymore.
How do you know she won't come back? Remember the old saying, he who loses faith loses all.
How did you know my girl's name was Faith?
I didn't, but I do know a fable that would help you to face the facts a little more clearly. It's called The French Poodle and the Alley Cat. Years ago, not very far from here, there stood a tiny village named Barrel City. The reason it was called Barrel City was because clothes not having been invented yet, its citizens wore barrel.
My, that's a stunning barrel. Cracker or lard? Pickle. My, it is a dilly.
Wearing barrels had its disadvantages, however. Not only was it difficult sitting down, but everyone's barrel looked alike. That is, until a French poodle, out to seek his fortune, opened a paint shop.
I will paint my way to the pinnacle of success.
Well, sir, that started a fad. By the end of the week, everyone in Barrel City was sporting a different colored barrel, painted by the French poodle, who in turn became the fashion leader of the community.
Here, madame and messieurs, we have my latest creation. A polka dot barrel with matching holes and a cerise ribbon draped around the slats. Breathtaking, n'est-ce pas?
Both the poodle and his shop continued to prosper until one fine day, a seedy-looking alley cat wandered into Barrel City and had the misfortune to pass beneath a window ledge upon which rested a flower pot containing one petunia.
Look at that stunning hat!
Word spread like wildfire throughout the city that a new style of headgear had been created. The cat, quick to seize the opportunity, bought all the flower pots in town and rented a dilapidated rundown shack that happened to be right next door to the poodle's barrel shop.
Bonjour, Mademoiselle Goose.
Bonjour to you.
I suppose you're in the market for a new barrel.
Quite the contrary. The new rage is flower pot hats.
If this keeps up, I will be the Rupp-Bankted.
That night, under the cover of darkness, the poodle, carrying a can of gunpowder, stole into the alley cat's hat shack. Striking a match, he lit the fuse.
That should take care of him.
But with the dawn came the sad realization that a slight faux pas had been committed, for instead of blowing up the cat shop, he had blown up his own.
Are you having a fire sale this week?
You little stinker, you are the cause of all this. But let the bygones be the bygones. Therefore, I would like to cement our friendship.
That's okay by me.
Bon. Now, in case you did not know, you have become quite famous, and people who are famous put their footprints in cement. Step into this bucket.
The cat did, and the cement hardened fast.
Tell me this. Can you swim?
Oh, sure.
With a bucket full of cement on your feet?
Oh, no.
That is all I want to know.
Wasting no further time, he dragged the helpless cat to the riverbank and pushed him in.
Au revoir!
So I got a little bad news for you, Poodle. That river's been dry for years.
Calamity followed calamity, for the townsfolk had seen the cat clomping along in his bucket full of cement, and this too caused a sensation. 2 days later, everyone was wearing this new type of shoe.
That does it. I might just as well kill myself.
But he didn't have to, for the townsfolk suddenly decided to hold a fashion contest, and the one who came up with the most ingenious design would get a contract that would set him up for life.
Good luck, Poodle.
This is my last chance.
The poodle worked feverishly and by morning had devised a new type of summer dress, which was in reality a flat tire with a moldy shower curtain hanging from it. But the alley cat was equal to the occasion, for he had created a hat consisting of a saddle studded with horse chestnuts. The poodle took one look, gasped.
Gasp!
And knew he'd run a poor second. But there was still time to act, for if he could ruin the hat before the judge saw it, he might still be victorious. There on a long banquet table sat a large vat of beef stew, but didn't sit there long. Well, sir, you'd never believe what happened. That cat still believed that his creation, even covered with beef stew, was still a winner. And he was right.
Some fable, Pop.
Well, I think it does prove that he who loses faith loses everything.
It also proves something else.
What?
If the stew fits, wear it.
not to speak.
Are they friendly spirits?
Friendly? Just listen.
And now, here's that man with helpful hints for everyone in the land, Mr. Know-It-All.
Hello there, Hinterlanders everywhere. Today we take up the problem of how to become a successful member of the U.S. Peace Corps. When you are sent into primitive country to help your fellow man, the first important thing is to find a fellow man. Then show them that your country has a new approach. The people back home really care. Offer them beads and trinkets. Primitive peoples like this appreciate that kind of thing.
Fake, 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 fake.
If, however, you find their state of industrial or scientific development farther along than you had supposed, the Peace Corps workers should offer assistance by showing the foreign friend how to repair or improve whatever devices they have. Kindly, brother, I have fixed your machine, so it is quieter now. Courtesy, U.S. Peace Corps! The next most important thing is to work along with them. That nothing too difficult for them is too difficult for you. And there you have it. The end product inspired by cooperation, friendship, and brotherhood.
Gosh, Mr. Know-It-All, it looks to me like you've just inspired this friendly friend from another land to build a rocket ship.
Yeah, happens every time.
Is it for defense?
No.
Space travel?
No.
Then what?
It's their way of getting me out of the country faster.
Hello again, Peabody and Sherman here, but not for long. We are just about to leave for Cambridge, England.
And what's the year, Mr. Peabody?
1686, Sherman, where we shall meet that eminent mathematician and experimental philosopher, the man who proved the law of gravity with the falling of a falling apple, Sir Isaac Newton. The Wayback Machine responded beautifully, depositing Sherman and me at the base of an English apple tree. Sure enough, there was Sir Isaac Newton.
I'm ruined. It's the end of everything for me.
Something wrong, Mr. Newton?
Yes, it's my theory on gravity. It won't work.
Of course it will. You simply take an apple from the tree, toss it into the air, and it will fall.
Would you care to wager?
By the tone of his voice, I knew he had attempted what I had just prescribed, but I insisted he try again.
Very well. I have the apple, correct?
Correct.
I toss it in the air thusly, correct?
Correct. And now it'll fall to the ground, correct?
Incorrect.
Strange as it sounds, the apple remained in midair.
But that's impossible. Whatever goes up must come down. Everybody knows that.
Quite. You know it, and I know it, but those ruddy apples don't seem to know it.
I assure you there is a plausible explanation for everything. Observe. Plucking the apple from the air, I neatly sliced it open to examine the interior. Just as I suspected. A rare species of fluttering fruit fly.
I'm afraid it's become quite clear that I shall never be able to prove the law of gravity with a falling apple if those apples won't fall.
May I suggest you simply find another source of apples?
I said, champion idea. Why didn't I think of it?
Going into town, we managed to locate the local fruit peddler.
One apple, please.
Hey, how about a nice banana?
No, thank you. An apple, please.
Maybe you like a good marshmallow.
What have you got against apples?
Nothing, except I don't got no apples.
Well, why didn't you say so?
You didn't ask me.
All right, then give me a banana. I guess it'll fall as well as a blooming apple will.
Gosh, he can't do that. History will be all wrong if he proves the law of gravity with a banana.
Don't worry, Sherman. If he tosses the banana into the air from where he is standing, I am certain it will not come down.
I hereby prove that what goes up must come down by tossing this banana into the air. And, oh, Jove, it didn't come down. Don't tell me I've proved there is no gravity.
No, Sir Isaac, only that monkeys like bananas.
Good heavens, it is a monkey.
Fate seemed to be working against Sir Isaac, and needless to say, he was becoming quite discouraged.
It's no use, gentlemen. There's simply no place else to find an apple.
You're mistaken, Sir Isaac. I am certain that you can obtain an apple right across the street.
The schoolhouse, of course. There's always an apple for the teacher in a schoolhouse.
Sir Isaac dashed into PS32 and explained his plight to the teacher, who, of course, was only too happy to give him her apple for such a worthy cause. With success in sight, Newton happily ran from the school, only to have misfortune overtake him once more. The apple rolled from his hand with such force that it rolled for 2 blocks and directly into the Cambridge Polo Grounds, where it was, quite naturally, mistaken for the ball by one of the players. The apple was driven through the goalposts for the winning point, I might add, hit a spectator squarely on the head, flew high into the air where it came to rest, of all places, on top of a very high flagpole.
That did it. This is one of those things you just can't fight.
Oh, one moment, sir. I feel that at last you can prove your law of gravity with no further ado.
Not with that apple, I can't. I could never climb way up there to get it.
You don't have to. Taking Sir Isaac, I quickly positioned him directly beneath that flagpole. Then a glance at my watch told me my timing was perfect.
But I don't understand. How can...
Hold perfectly still, sir. You will know in exactly 4 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, now. As usual, my calculations were absolutely accurate. On the nearby Tower of London, the sunset gun was fired. That slight vibration shook the apple from its perch, and it fell, hitting Sir Isaac so that he was certain to notice, so that at last he was able to prove his theory.
Boy, sometimes it's sure hard for famous people to get famous.
That's right, Sherman. Isaac Newton's brother Figby had his troubles before he became famous, too.
Isaac Newton's brother Figby? What's he famous for?
Oh, he invented a cookie.
Oh, Mr. Peabody, you don't mean...
I certainly do. Figby Newton was the inventor of the Fig Newton.
Last time, you remember, the advisor-back told Fearless Leader that he could replenish the Pottsylvanian treasury by getting money from the United States. And how? The magic word was Musylvania.
Musylvania? That's a pest hole, Fearless Leader. Send me to Devil's Island. Send me to Siberia. Send me to Wilkes-Barre. But not Musylvania.
Now, Badenov, don't lose your head.
I'm not losing my head.
You will if you don't go to Musylvania.
What time leaves the next submarine?
And so it was that just a few days later, as Rocky and Bullwinkle were fishing and slapping mosquitoes off the shoreline of Musylvania, they were hailed by a cheery voice.
Hello, suckers.
What was that?
I said hello, strangers.
Sounded different the first time.
My, what a magnificent catastrophe you got there. Is it yours?
Musylvania? You betcha, mister. Been in the family for years.
Pity you don't do something with it.
Such as?
Advertise. You could make Musylvania the Riviera of the swamps, and I could help you.
Who are you, mister?
Just the head of the biggest advertising agency in all northern Canada is whom.
What advertising agency is that?
Dancer, Prancer, Blitzen, and Fink.
Yeah, I've heard of those first 3 fellers, but who's Fink?
I'm Fink.
You could say that again, darling.
You mean you could really do something with Musylvania?
Could I? Body boy, I got plans you wouldn't believe it. Sign here.
Right.
Now, wait. What's all this fine print?
Give me that. You want to ruin your sweet little eyes? Now, first thing you do is go ashore on Musylvania while we taking your picture.
Cajoled by Boris, our friends went ashore while he stayed on his submarine yacht and focused a camera on them.
Fine. Now, the next thing we're doing is taking this big rock and sink your boat.
Hey, wait a minute. Now we're marooned in Musylvania.
See how it all works out? Well, bye now.
But I thought you were going to make Musylvania famous.
Just you wait.
And for once in his life, Boris was as good as his word.
Better even.
For he spread the word that Rocky and Bullwinkle were marooned and in need of help.
Extra! Extra!
Of course, the nation sprang into emergency action at once. With typical American foresight, 14 tons of surplus wheat germ was rushed by freight car to the swampy area, where it promptly sank from sight. Undaunted, the government began to airlift supplies into Musylvania. In less than a week, the tiny island was heaped with all kinds of vital emergency rations.
Let's see. Here's 2,000 gallons of maple syrup,
800 surplus goldfish bowls,
26 obsolete missiles.
32 million units of something.
What?
I don't know. The name got scratched off.
Well, whatever it is, we sure got plenty of it.
Hey, here's a a coupon from Dr. Kildare. Good for an emergency appendix operation.
How thoughty.
Yeah, everybody's sure been nice. There's just one thing wrong, Bullwinkle.
Just one? That's a refreshing change. What is it?
Oh, this stuff is pretty heavy.
And?
I'm afraid the whole island of Mussylvania's sinking.
Yes, our friends were up to their knees in trouble.
And water.
Well, let's look on the bright side.
What's that?
The mosquitoes can't bite our ankles anymore.
Well, are we about to see our whole story go down the drain? Don't miss our next episode when we'll hear Rocky say...
Well, it looks as if our time has just about run out.
Mine must be a little slow.
You got the credits, Bullwinkle?
All on this itty-bitty card. Oop.
We're late again, Bullwinkle.
Right.
Bye now. See you next time.
A thunder of jets in an open sky, a streak of gray, and a cheerful... A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again, you'll know it's time for the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and friends. Starring that supersonic speedster, Rocket J. Squirrel, with his pal Bullwinkle the Moose, and a host of others.
Hurry, Bullwinkle. The show's about to start.
I'm coming as fast as I can.
Wave to the people.
Yay!
Now what are you doing?
Sign an autograph. Let's see. John Smith.
But your name is Bullwinkle.
I know, but that's hard to spell.
We're going to have a lot of fun. Come on and join us.
Sure, there's always room for one more.
Well, Boris Badanov's efforts to make Mussylvania the world's most popular disaster area have really brought results.
Golly, Bullwinkle, we've got more emergency supplies than we know what to do with.
Yeah, here's 22 gross of emergency collar buttons. Now, if we only wore emergency collars,
Well, how about this? 46 tons of bubble gum. That's a lot.
More than I use in a week.
Yes, the kind-hearted citizens of the USA had made Mussylvania the dumping ground for every surplus item in the country. In fact, so much junk was piled up on the swampy soil of Mussylvania that the whole island began to sink.
Bullwinkle, I'm up to my knees in water.
You were expecting champagne?
Hadn't we better leave?
Leave Mussylvania? But, Rocky, I'm the governor.
Oh.
A good governor always goes down with his state.
So?
Natasha, you wouldn't believe it. That idiot Moose is going to drown himself.
And all the supplies, too, darling.
Yeah, that's right. All the... Oh, boy. Those are our supplies.
Ours? But we haven't stolen them yet, Boris.
It's only a matter of crime, Natasha.
And if all that loot goes on the water, what will Fearless Leader say?
He'll say, you go underground, Badenoff.
Funny, that's what I thought you'd say, dear old superior.
Badenoff, you are supposed to steal all those supplies and send them to Pennsylvania.
But Fearless Leader is not the right time yet.
Badenoff, the island is loaded.
I tell you, it's not the right time.
And it's starting to sink.
It's still not the right time.
And if you don't get to work, you will be number one on the liquidation parade.
Now is the right time. Come, Natasha.
Mooring close to the soggy site, Boris and Natasha began swiping supplies and rowing them to their submarine yacht. But fast as they could steal, the island sank still faster. Meanwhile, Rocky was perched atop a 16-ton cement mixer, watching Bullwinkle, who was still determined to go down with his stake.
Yeah, I'm a determined sinker, Rock.
You can say that again.
I don't think I dare.
There must be something I can do for you.
How about a rousing chorus of taps?
Isn't there anything you want?
How about a piece of that bubble gum?
Bullwinkle, that's it.
What's it?
Bubble gum. That's how we'll save Moosylvania.
You putting me on, Rock?
Bubble gum? Boris, what does this mean?
It means Squirrel has finally flipped his goggles. Come, help me with these cartons of butterscotch yogurt.
Meanwhile, Rocky was dumping boxes of bubble gum into the huge cement mixer.
I just wanted one little piece, Rock.
You won't need one, Bullwinkle. Watch.
And the brainy squirrel zoomed to a large tank of surplus helium left over from the Navy blimp school. In a few minutes, he had fastened the tank to the batch of bubble gum and turned on the valve. Instantly, the bubblegum opened into an enormous helium-filled balloon, which Rocky then fastened to a nearby tree root.
I just wanted one little piece, Rock.
Don't you see, Bullwinkle? These balloons will keep Moosylvania from sinking.
True, in just a little while, Rocky had a dozen of these huge balloons swaying in the breeze. Of course, their upward pull countered the weight of the supplies. The island stopped sinking, and Bullwinkle slowly emerged from the swamp.
Ta-da!
Boris, the squirrel has done it again.
You know, I hate to admit it, Natasha, but he's a pretty smart cookie.
Then why are you lighting the fuse on that dynamite?
Because that's the way the cookie crumbles.
And Boris tossed the dynamite right under our hero's furry tail. Don't miss our next bang-up episode, Moosylvania Mishmash, or A State of Confusion.
Once upon a time, there was a witch named Griselka who chalked up a very enviable record when it came to witchery.
I hereby cast a spell upon you, and henceforth you shall be known as Sleeping Beauty. I hereby cast a spell upon you, and forevermore you shall remain a frog.
Naturally, when it came time to give out the award for the best witch of the year...
I shall treasure this gold-plated skull the rest of my unnatural life.
Well, sir, Griselka's stock soared sky high after that, and every night was Halloween as far as she was concerned.
Grizz, you're due to fly to London tonight to touch off the year of the plague.
We'll cancel that until Monday. I have to lock a damsel named Rapunzel in a tower. Dancer!
This went on for months, and Griselka was just about the most popular witch of all time. That's when it happened. There she was, concocting a vile brew in a cauldron, when suddenly the door opened, and there stood the most handsome prince in the world.
Ah, fair lady. Could I trouble you for a flagon of water?
That was tantamount to committing hara-kiri.
Instead of water, try a sip of this.
Here's looking at you, sweet damsel. Cheers.
Ah, but witches, too, have hearts. And it was there that Griselka was struck by Cupid's timely arrow.
Don't drink that!
The liquid burned a hole 3 feet deep.
I say, that must be carbonated.
You know, I must have that prince.
But Griselka was so ugly that she could look in a mirror and crack it.
But it's a poisoned apple you're supposed to send to Snow White.
You sure it isn't a poisoned watermelon?
Look, Grizz, yesterday you changed a bat into a bunny rabbit. You better go see a doctor. There's no doubt of it, madam. You have an acute case of amoritis.
Is that anything like the 3-year itch?
Madam, you are in love. L-U-F, love.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, and don't you dare crack on me. How can I win the prince's love?
You must cast a spell on yourself. And now I must go before I crack up.
Of course, the mirror is right. If I change myself into a beautiful princess, the prince will fall in love with me.
This was the biggest job she ever faced. For 2 weeks, she boiled wolfbane, mice wings, and gruffy powder in the old reliable cauldron. And finally...
Through the mouth and through the gums. Look out, stomach! Here it comes!
The age-old incantation never failed. Where once there was a witch, stood an enchanting princess.
Well, my son, how are you enjoying the ball?
I'm having a ball, Dad.
I know that, but how are you enjoying it?
But before the prince could answer, his eyes spied what to him was the most beautiful maiden he had ever seen.
You're beautiful, you're lovely, you're engaged to me.
A whirlwind courtship ensued, during which the prince and his inamorata was seen everywhere. Ah, but they were not alone.
I say, sweetheart, have you noticed that broom that seems to follow us wherever we go?
Broom?
There was no mistaking it. This was the very same broom Griselka had ridden on her nightly forays.
Quick, dearest, lock the broom in the cellar.
Even though the request was a strange one, the prince complied. But that night, at the opera...
Don't look now, but isn't that the same broom sitting next to you?
Oh, quick, my love, take me home.
Alas, there was no running away from her past. No matter where the princess went, the broom was sure to go.
So, you used to be Griselka the witch, eh?
Oh, yes, Doctor.
Amazing. We wondered where you'd got to. Now, tell me your problem.
And the princess unfolded the bizarre happenings of the past week.
Well, this is all psychological, my dear. You see, that broom...
This broom?
Oh, yes. Anyway, that broom has a dust complex. You see, it's lonely. It misses its former owner. It undoubtedly still thinks that you are a witch.
Well, what can I do, Doctor? What can I do?
Next time, take the train.
The desperate princess returned to the hut where she had once lived as a witch, followed closely by the broom.
Oh, if there was only someone to help me.
There is.
Oh, mirror, mirror on the wall, reflecting all this gloom. How in the world does one get rid of an old but faithful broom?
The answer is simple. Get a gride.
Now, in those days, dustpans weren't called dustpans, they were called grides. And so it was that the princess immediately purchased a small but attractive gride and set it beside the lonesome broom in the broom closet. The rest happened naturally.
And do you, Prince, take this princess for your wife?
Oh, I do.
Yes, it turned out to be a double wedding ceremony. Not only was there a bride and a groom, but there was also a gride and a broom.
Private Bullwinkle, sir, with a message.
Just in time.
Is it important?
Is it? Just look. And now, for all you travelers of the open road, here's Mr. Know-It-All.
Hello, carefree adventure lovers. Today, let's examine the most economical form of transportation, hitchhiking. First, we need 2 important ingredients, a road and a thumb. Then, stepping 18 inches onto the pavement itself, the hitchhiker smiles broadly at the hitchhikee, or driver, and immediately... Which brings us to the problem of overconfident. You must look modest but helpful.
Hey, Moose.
You see?
You got a match?
Why, of course, kindly, sir. Say, you wouldn't happen to be going to... Which brings us to the Petroleus Neglecticus method, or out-of-gas look. If you hold an empty gas can, the motorist naturally assumes you need a ride to the next station. Of course, you must exert extreme care with the gas can, because you could...
Hey, Moose, thanks for match.
It may become necessary to trick the motorist into giving you a ride. By creating the impression of a railroad crossing, you make the motorist stop. Then all you have to do is... Oh, no. I'll stand over here where it's safe until he comes to a complete stop.
Gee, Mr. Know-It-All, you didn't do so well. think you'll ever get a ride?
Of course. There's one important little element I left out that makes it absolutely certain I'll get a ride.
You're right, Bullwinkle. One little element.
Yep. It's illegal.
And now it's time...
Time for that jolly juggler, Bullwinkle.
Oh, dear.
3 at once. 1, 2...
And now here's a feature you're sure to like.
3.
Sunset, that time of day when the tired Mountie sits down to dinner and gets his just desserts. And just what does the tired Mountie do after dinner? Well, if he's anything like Dudley Do-Right, champion of the oppressed and all-around goody two-shoes, he goes for a swim in the river.
Last one in is a rotten egg.
Which is just what he had eaten for dinner. The rest of his fellow Mounties remained in the dining hall, however. For you see, this was the middle of winter, and the river was anything but swimmable. By the time they got him out, Dudley's warm outlook on life had cooled considerably.
That ice is certainly thick.
So is your head, Dudley.
The vision of loveliness administering first aid to our hero is the haunting and ever-popular Nell Fenwick. She and Dudley have been engaged for 22 years.
You need someone to take care of you.
I have my horse.
You need a woman.
What is a woman?
I am a woman, Dudley, and I have decided to let you marry me.
10 minutes later, they stood before the preacher.
And if there is anyone present who objects to this union, let him speak now.
The gentleman about to object is Dudley's lifelong enemy, the malevolent Snidely Whiplash.
I don't know what it means, but I object. Whiplash, you cur. So you would ruin my wedding, eh?
As a starter, yes.
Dudley picked up the thing nearest to him, which happened to be Nell, and threw it.
Aha! I have her, and you shall never get her back, or any other part of her.
Quick, Do-Right, give chase.
What? And miss all this swell food?
Far above Cayuga's waters sat Snidely Whiplash's sawmill, scene of many a tragedy.
Why are you doing this, you devil?
Because, Miss Fenwick, beneath this black exterior, there lies a mustard plaster. And over the mustard plaster there hangs an asafoetida bag. On it, imprinted in pica, are the words, Whippy loves Nellie. What I'm trying to say is, I love you. Well, let's say I like you a lot.
But I despise you.
You won't be mine?
Never.
Well, if I can't have you, neither can Do-Right.
He tied Nell to a log, pulled a lever, and started her on her way to the teeth of a giant saw. Fortunately, the conveyor belt was in need of oiling, and the trip was a slow one.
I must get word to Dudley.
Nell was in luck, for as Whiplash stepped out of the back door, a mailman stepped through the front.
One of them new weight-reducing machines, ma'am?
Quick, sir. Are you en route to the Mountie post?
No, but I'm a-going there.
Taking a pencil, she scrawled the word help on a sheet of paper, stuffed it into an envelope, addressed the envelope to Dudley Do-Right, then fainted from the exertion. 2 days later, at the post, Nell's father, Inspector Fenwick, chatted with our hero.
I haven't seen Nell lately.
Come to think of it, I haven't either.
Perhaps she's visiting your sister.
Does she have a sister?
No, but Nell's a strange girl.
At that moment...
I ran all the way from Whiplash's sawmill. I have an urgent letter for Constable Do-Right.
It's from Nell. I'd know her penmanship anywhere.
Yes, it's from Nell, all right.
Well, aren't you going to open it?
That would be against the law, sir. You see, there isn't a stamp on the envelope.
And there you have the reason why Dudley rode to the sawmill, dashed inside when Nell was still on her way to the saw, talked her into sticking a stamp on the envelope, dashed outside the sawmill, rode all the way back to the post, and said to the inspector...
It's from Nell, sir. She needs help.
Well, stand there, Do-Right. Don't just do something.
It took them an hour and a half to straighten out that last line, but eventually Dudley was on his way to the rescue. Would he make it in time?
Oh, save me, save me! Somebody save me!
Don't go all to pieces, Nell. Wait about 5 seconds.
It looked like Nell Fenwick's wick was about to be extinguished when...
The jig is up, Whiplash.
Dudley, the saw! Pull the lever!
He pulled the lever all right, but the one that said free-wheeling. The saw rotated madly, broke free of its moorings, and ate its way around the mill.
Created a Frankenstein!
Frankenstein!
Within 5 minutes, the sawmill had been reduced to sawdust. As for Whiplash, he was last seen heading in the general direction of downtown Toronto, closely followed by the saw.
Oh, Dudley, my hero.
Nell, my heroine.
At approximately 11:10 the following morning, every available Mountie gathered on the post parade grounds. Constable DeWright was to receive the Canadian Pretty Good Conduct Medal.
Before I pin this on you, DeWright, when are you and my daughter going to be married?
Oh, I'd say in about 10 years, sir. Unless she gets out before that for good behavior. You see, I had to arrest her for mail fraud. The stamp she stuck on the envelope? Blue chip, sir. Against all regulations.
Well, in our last episode, Rocky saved the island of Mussylvania from sinking by using his brainy little head.
And 46 tons of bubble gum.
Same thing.
But an angry Boris lit the fuse on a stick of dynamite and tossed it right at Rocky.
Quick, back to the submarine, Natasha. You don't want to be hit by flying pieces of flying squirrel.
Calling Boris Badenov. Come in, Badenov.
I'm in, fearless leader Booby. You see me toss dynamite at squirrel?
Badenov, you are an incompetent, stupid, disgusting little nincompoop.
Who's little?
If that dynamite goes off on the island, the balloons will collapse, the island will sink, and there will be nothing left for us to steal but acres and acres of goo.
It's just that she's so tall it makes me look... Acres of what?
Goo! Goo!
Natasha, I think fearless leader is in his second childhood.
Boris, he's talking about what the dynamite will do to those sticky balloons.
Yeah, they're... Oh, boy.
And Boris dashed madly away. In a flash, he returned with a sizzling dynamite, which he deposited neatly in a handy, thin trash barrel.
See, you got to have a cool head and nerves of... A thin trash barrel.
Darling, that is not a trash barrel. That is a ventilator on our submarine.
Gee, I could have sworn that was a trash barrel.
Yeah, you're suddenly a dumbhead. Me too.
And while Boris sinks slowly in the west, let's travel east and see how our friends are making out.
Well, I guess those balloons will hold till we can send all this stuff back, Bullwinkle.
Send it back?
Sure. Mussylvania's not really a disaster area. It always looks that way.
But how do we send it back?
Easy. Call your friendly neighborhood moving man. Is me, my card.
Van and Storage. You're a moving man?
Watch.
Yup. He's moving all right.
And you'll return all this stuff for us? How much?
For you, I do it free from charge.
Free?
Boris, you're not going to take the money.
Natasha, if they pay me to steal from them, I lose my amateur standing.
And so it was a short time later that a makeshift barge loaded with a fantastic amount of surplus goodies was headed out to the open sea.
Spotsylvania, here we come.
At that moment, a sinister-looking black submarine surfaced beside them, and out stepped fearless leader himself.
Boris Baby Liebchen.
Liebchen?
When we peddle all this stuff, Spotsylvania will be in the black again. You've saved the country.
You mean I'm a hero?
Absolutely. And so I now give you the Spotsylvanian Order of the Double Cross. Here, catch.
Boris, look out!
Yes, that tiny ounce of metal was just 1 ounce too many. The added weight began to push the enormous barge underwater.
Oh, come on, not twice in one episode.
Boris, darling, throw the metal overboard.
But fearless leader himself gave that to me.
Badenov, you're sinking the whole cargo.
What happens if it sinks?
You get shot.
What happens if I throw away the metal?
You get shot.
Well, at least I got a choice. Now let me see.
Well, the old place is back to subnormal, Rock.
Yeah, and we... Hey, was that a shot?
Heck no, Rock.
Well, it sounded like a shot.
Nope.
Then what was it?
That was the end.
By George, he's got it. It is the end. But watch for another episode soon of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
It may be a little hard to find, but don't give up.
We're not. As if our time is just about run out.
Mine must be a little slow.
You got the credits, Bullwinkle?
All on this itty-bitty card. Oop.
We're late again, Bullwinkle.
Right.
Bye now. See you next time.